Because I bought that. What up, everybody? Now I'm fucking pissed off. If you want to touch my fucking shit. Ronnie, what up?
Who that there call my name? What up?
What up?
Nothing.
Shit, I was sitting here watching some YouTube.
People want to keep touching my fucking shit back here. I'm gonna fucking keep my goddamn shit recording for 24 hours, find out who it is, and break their fucking hands. And not lightly either. Not no. I'm gonna get a hammer and smash them shit. Cast.
Pop.
Pop every fucking bone in that goddamn motherfucker. I'm sick of this.
Get him.
No, and then I'm the asshole for bugging the fuck out and saying, "Where's my shit?"
Get him. Like I need my shit. I think I might roll a Hooters.
They'd be like, "Oh, it's only a charger." I'd be like, "I don't give a fuck. It's my charger for my shit that's no longer there."
That's right. I need my shit when I need my shit, and I need my shit now.
For real. And like, I know, for one, I already know that who took it and why, because they took it for their controller so they could play their game, because I know they have no fucking batteries, because they asked me for them the second they got home. So like, just kids being fucking stupid as fuck, literally.
Yeah, my fucking kids, the one kid, he steals my chargers too. I feel that. I like them little shit.
For real, bro. I get livid. I get livid. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you didn't ask me and my shit's not there where I had it, the way I had it, I'm flipping shit. I don't care. I can't help it. It's like something triggers me inside, dude. I don't know. It's probably because I was such a bad thief. It's probably because I used to be such a bad thief, bro. Honestly, that's why it bothers me so much. Because we used to have this store called Stephen Barry's. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Stephen Barry's.
I know where Stephen Barry's is.
But yeah, we used to have one in our mall, and like me and my brother bankrupt that store by ourselves.
No shit.
Yeah, like straight duffel bagging it, bro. Like before fucking looting was a thing, we were doing that shit for fun, discreetly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I remember at one point I was always in motherfucking American Eagles, Stephen Barry's. You know what I'm saying? I gave a
yeah,
fuck when
What
what
up,
I was
Wood?
wearing and shit.
yeah, yeah. American Eagle was hard because they had the fucking
Yeah.
tag shits on. What's going on,
Hey,
motherfucker?
hey, if you don't know nothing about no Lucky Brand jeans, I don't want to talk to y'all.
Oh yeah, them motherfucking 3-leaf clovers. You know, you
Hey,
know, you know.
hey,
I know what you're talking about.
when you unzipped your motherfucking zipper, it said you are lucky.
And they had the pockets with the prints on them and shit on the
Bro.
inside of the pockets. Yup, yup.
Uh-huh.
Shit, our shit
Oh,
growing up though. Our shit growing up was Rockaware. Rockaware growing up, that shit was huge. Or Ed
hey,
Hardy. Ed
I'll
Hardy
stay
growing
cool.
up. Ed Hardy growing up was hard, bro. I'll still rock some Ed Hardy.
I'll rock it all.
What up, gang?
What up, gang?
Cool, cool.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Terry Dabs, it's about time we got you in a fucking vibe.
We had him in alive.
Jenko was the shit.
Oh, Janko, shit. I hadn't even got started on my Janko jeans.
I can say I don't know Jenko jeans. I don't know Jenko jeans.
What?
Nah, let me
The
look them
bell
up.
bottoms?
Oh yeah, I didn't fuck with them. I didn't fuck with the bell bottom.
Bro, them motherfucking, I swear it was like every year them fucking pants cuffs got wider and wider, bro.
I'm getting fucking pissed, bro.
They always had intricate designs on them and shit. I think I still got a pair of my Janko jeans in fucking storage, yo. I think I'm 41 years old. I'm old bastard.
Yeah, I'd never rock these bitches.
Ah,
Yo.
I be scared. I be walking around outside in the garden, some ant go up my leg or
Yo,
something.
Malibu. Imagine Malibu in these shits.
Bro, he was Malibu's most wanted.
Yeah, he was.
The movie, dead serious.
Nah, yeah, he dead ass was, bro.
He dead ass had some.
Get some. Just for the fuck of
Ronnie,
it.
Good
what's up,
evening,
man?
Lee. What's going on, Lee? What's going on, Woods? Are you here with us now?
Yeah, I fucked with
What
my
up,
phone
Lee?
for a minute.
Woods? What?
What up, Ronnie?
What up, Woods?
It's been a minute.
Been a long ass minute.
Yeah, I know, about 3 fucking months.
My boy
Yo,
been
I
counting
started
over here.
I started these vibe shows. Wood said, "Fuck y'all." I'm shutting my internet off. He said, "I'm shutting my internet off."
Oh
Yo.
God, though, like I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Live shit.
Oh shit, I'm gonna have to go pee and come back and do another dab. Hold on. Old man bladder.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to get that. I'll drink a cup of water and that shit just fucking leaves my body.
Dabbing.
Oh yeah, cheers, my boy.
Well, I'm gonna get a little high.
Shit, I'm gonna get a lot of high. Try to.
Yo, cheers.
Everybody, if you're just tapping in and if you're watching on Facebook, please tap them reactions. Share us out to your friends and family and whoever else. And let's get a vibe going, guys. I'm pretty fucking irritated at the moment. But
Long day, bro. Long day.
well, Lee Bailey, you're in the perfect spot if you can't sleep because this lobby and live is full of people who can't sleep, and we be up all night just for people like you.
That's my buddy Lee.
For real. I've been running on 1 hour of sleep since last night.
I took a nap early today on accident.
Right.
So did
Might have
Malibu.
got real hot.
Yo, Ronnie, before you popped up here, Malibu was just saying how he ain't had no sleep, except
Yeah.
the accidental nap that he took earlier, and you were just like, "Yeah, I accidentally fell asleep."
I might have smoked a really good fucking infused joint. That motherfucker might have fucking made me go night watching YouTube.
Oh yeah, I'm finna run out of dabs before this week's up, and I already know that shit.
What?
Yeah, I just got one yesterday.
That ain't no good.
I get
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be good.
yeah.
I wish I could make some of this appear over there with you.
Yo, just
Like-
wait. Give it time. Give it time. We'll be able to push it in a fucking microwave, a microwave-looking machine. It's gonna look like a microwave, bro. I'm telling you. And then we're gonna
They're
press a
gonna be
button.
mini transporters are coming in the future.
Bro,
Bro,
I
I'm
feel
telling
like
you.
we would have to type their phone number though, like as like the code.
the destination.
Yeah.
Like, type their phone number.
You need
and
their
that's where it
fucking.
takes it.
You need their fucking coordinate points.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me look you up on Google Maps real quick.
Yeah, right. Your fucking longitude and latitude. Fucking.
Oh shit, Woods. Lee said he's in Houston, Texas at the Texas University MD Anderson Cancer Hospital.
Been here since Wednesday night.
Who's that?
Hey,
Damn.
Lee Bailey. Lee Bailey, what kind of cancer do you have, if you don't mind me asking? If it's not too personal.
Shit, in Houston.
I know he's been going through chemo a lot.
Yeah, my mom. I just recently found out my mom's got cancer and got to go through surgery and shit. Shit's
Yeah,
creeping
my
fast.
grandma got it.
Yeah, shit
It was
was
just perfect timing because Lee's like, I'm down here in Texas and Woods up here. You know, he's from
Yeah, I
Texas.
was about to say, you only about two hours away, something like that.
Woods, go get that man some fucking company. Right now.
I would, dog.
Alright.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Lee Bailey, these are for you, buddy.
It's gas time.
These dabs are for you, Lee Bailey. Shout out to Lee Bailey. I hope everything heals the way it's supposed to, man. I don't know how far deep, how bad, or anything about your situation, but I hope it gets better, homie.
Yeah, I hope you get way better. Smoking on some rock for you, though. With the rest of what I got.
I got some banana bars.
I'm smoking white runts dabs.
Right? We got two, right?
That's how I want it.
A total kidney transplant. So after the are you on the list? Are you in the process of waiting? Do they already have a liver? Or a kidney, I mean. I said liver.
Damn. That ain't no good at all.
Hey. Ooh, hold on.
I hope you get it soon.
Yeah, hopefully
I hope you get it soon, man.
I hope you get it real soon, baby.
I hope you get it sooner than later. for sure.
Nah, we're gonna enough the heat for you, dog. We're gonna make some shit crack off
So if
next
your
time.
kivers,
So, Crispy,
if your if your shit has candula, what happens to you if your kidneys start shutting down? I know you die, but
man,
like what happens?
Uh,
Like do you just
your
get
body
sick as
starts
fuck?
slowly filling, yeah, starts
yeah,
filling full of toxins.
So that's what cleans your toxins and shit out.
yeah.
It filters out your urine. Between the liver and your kidneys, they filter a lot of shit. But Kirsty,
Damn.
I
Yo,
found this channel on YouTube. I want you to start watching the videos. It's My Lunch Break. What
my
it's
lunch
called.
break.
Yep. Oh, the
Pussy!
boy.
Eat my
Oh,
dick.
them. The boy, you.
Yo, I typed
Boy.
in my lunch break on Google and their fucking page popped up.
Ha
A real reason. Oh, okay, I get it. I get
You
it.
get it? All right.
I get it. Hell yeah. Yo, yeah, I listen to this about history. His, I don't believe any history after watching the video I watched earlier, bro.
Really?
Yeah, because
Well, one.
history is just his story. It's just his story. It's his story to tell. That's what history is. And
His
it's
story.
literally yeah, I watched a reel earlier on Facebook, and he was like just talking about like how history is not really a thing. Like yeah, history's a thing, like the shit that's happened before in like the past, but like history was made to control people, control mindsets, and to get to the narrative. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
most things that we learn about history in school about shit that happened to us or other countries and shit, most likely in my head, I believe we were in control and part of it all.
Bro, I
that's
distinctly
deep.
remember being at South Haven fucking school, the last eclipse, and they were like, it's going to be another 50 years before the eclipse happens, right? I'm not fucking 50 years old.
Yeah, they happen like every 7 years or some shit, 7 to 14 or some shit. How often? Yeah, I when the, actually we looked that up and shit when that shit was happening.
Yeah. I
We
don't know.
actually have a lunar
I've
we have a
watched a
lunar
lot of
eclipse coming.
shit. Yeah, I watched a lot of shit on that too.
What?
I don't
Solar
know what to make
eclipse
of it.
occur. This says solar eclipses occur between 2 and 5 times per year, with total eclipses happening about every 18 months. However, it's rare for 5 eclipses to
Get it?
occur in a
Yeah,
single
go to
year.
sleep.
The last time
Go to sleep,
happening
boy.
in 1935,
Yeah.
and not it won't be it's not expected again until 2206. But no, that's not true. Oh no, yeah, it is because they usually happen over the ocean.
Yeah.
So it's just when we can see them is.
Where the fucking totality of the fucking darkness goes across is usually in the ocean.
Yeah.
What do you want?
All right. What do you say? I believe what I was taught in school isn't taught in school anymore. You are absolutely don't believe that. You know that because
Yeah, right. That's
I
true.
can tell you that. I can tell you that just by the simple fact of what my kids come home and like you look at their homework. Like 9/11's not in textbooks no more. Fucking,
Shit.
they're
I'm
just
more
not
worried.
teaching certain history. They care
I'm
too much
more.
about. They care too much for real about slavery to try to keep the narrative of racial going in America. so they can keep the racial fucking standard on America and keep everything under a racial fucking standard.
I'm more worried
Without
about it.
being, you're worried about what?
I'm more worried about if Iran's gonna fucking launch missiles at fucking Israel come tomorrow morning.
You know what I believe will fix us? A civil
What?
war. A civil war.
It's coming.
A civil war will fix every fucking thing. When all the
It's
people
coming.
stand up, come together, and say "fuck the government," that's when everything will fucking
Oh,
everything will
it's
change.
coming. This shit with fucking Donald Trump going on.
Now, do you see
Pushing a
Ukraine right
lot of
now,
shit.
bro? Do you see the
Huh?
UK right now? Do you see the UK right now, bro?
Oh
They're
yeah.
up in fucking shambles, bro. Same thing with fucking Palestine and the shit that's happening over there, bro. Like, I feel bad for that shit, bro. Like, that shit's straight sad. Like, I made a fucking Twitter account, bro, and like that's when I started for real seeing this shit. Like, you'll see posts about it, and like flyers and shit about it on Facebook. But like, you go over to X/Twitter and shit, bro, and
Yeah.
you straight see Palestinian soldiers or whatever soldiers like on the ground with a drone flying above them, bro, and that drone has a bomb attached to it. And it's just
Yeah, they
hovering
just
above them,
want to go.
waiting to fucking kill it, waiting to kill them.
Yep.
The dude's just sitting there like mad people. It's not just one video you watch mad times. It's literally mad videos that you see once. Because like
Yeah.
it's shit you don't want to see, but like it's like, bro, this shit's really happening. And they're saying that our taxpayer money funds it.
No,
And that
what really pisses me off is the shit I fucking read yesterday that fucking Vladimir Zelensky. Okay? This motherfucker's wife just ordered a goddamn brand new Bugatti. Brand new Bugatti. Next year she won't get it till 2026. Alright? This bitch paid $5 million for this car, right?
that's a lot of fucking money.
Huh, it's awfully funny. We've been sending how much money over here?
We pay for her car, bro.
Yeah, we just bought this bitch a car.
The bitch gonna let me
We,
drive that hoe.
we as U.S. just bought this bitch a car. This motherfucker is the best goddamn. And he can't even call him a salesman, but he basically talked us out of a lot of motherfucking money.
Yeah, but like the shitty part is, I feel like every taxpayer should decide where their taxes go. Instead of all
Yeah.
of us just paying taxes, giving it to the government, and then they just do whatever the fuck they do with it to fund whatever the fuck they want to fund. Behind our backs, in front of our face, whatever the fuck they want to do. I feel like with all the paperwork that we have to do, why can't we choose where our money gets put, whether it be scientific research or fucking cancer research or fucking feeding the fucking finally trying to set free of homeless people or trying to fucking fix hunger in the world, like the real fucking issue. Not people just being mad not people just being mad about oil and gas.
I'd say we find out where the fuck all these goddamn labs are and shut them the fuck down.
Yo, like what the fuck's that movie? Is it called like Rablats or some shit? They're literally
Yeah.
underground, bro. Like thousands of feet underground, and it's a structure. It's a building
been
built
there forever.
underground, bro.
No. We're going up north, okay? Me and Kimmy just went on a trip to the UP of Michigan, okay? Went over the bridge and up. We're driving like 22 miles, and all of a sudden you just start seeing chain link fences with barbed wire. You're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, hey, look at that. It's a fucking lab. And you're like, why the fuck is there a lab way the fuck out where there's literally for 22 miles nothing? Not a gas station, not a fucking
But they
town, not
got
a
to.
house.
They got to though. Like for real. Because you got them people, you got them counter scientists that be wanting to know what the fuck they're doing, that cooking up shit in their basement, that want a little bit of piece of what they got so they can figure it out first. Like there really be them people out there, Ronnie.
bro.
You know, in all kind of aspects.
Yo, they
I'm
think
like,
they think about everything. They watch Phineas and Ferb and said, "We can't have no Dr. Doofenshmirtz come over here."
Yeah.
so I can hey, we got some minions in a fucking fence out here in the middle of Michigan and shit. Talking about some boy.
Yeah,
We're
right.
gonna get all
You see Gru and a bunch of minions just pop out of the fucking lab.
Bro, I fucking died. I
KT, what's
fucking
going
died.
on? KT, welcome
Dude,
to the lab.
what up, TK?
We talking about hidden labs. Yo, if there's underground bunker, if we got every regular day farmers building underground bunkers, what the
All
fuck do
right,
we got people building this world and controlling it building underground?
here's one.
Hey,
I,
Malibu, what you want, bro?
that same YouTuber I told you to watch, he does all the old shit on all the underground cities. Like multi-level. How the fuck back in the 1600s they down there digging fucking
I'm
18
telling you, that
levels
shit been
underneath the ground?
So over in is like Germany, like all the nice ass architecture they got and shit.
Yeah.
They're saying that's not as old as it is. There's no way it could be as old as it is because they didn't have a way to do it. They're saying that it's impossible that it was hammer and chiseled. It's got to be done with a motor tool.
Bro. All right. Back everybody knows Desert Storm. We all know it. Okay? Now, when they was going through them tunnels looking for all them Al Qaedas and the fucking Taliban and shit, right? They were
Yep.
coming up on ancient cities and tunnels under fucking ground with palaces in them. We're talking about thousands of kilometers of fucking tunnels with palaces. Like 18 levels. Legit. Like I was just saying. 18 fucking different levels underground.
Yeah, well, think of the pyramids. How the fuck they do that? I
Now
believe. I
somebody
believe. I don't care what the facts say on Google or all. I believe that Egyptians were fucking bigger than the average people.
giants were real.
Yeah, but
yeah.
look at Egyptian sarcophaguses and shit. They're not regular sized coffins. And when you open them fucking sarcophagus, they fill it. They fill that bitch
Yeah,
from top to bottom, right or wrong.
yeah.
They're in that bitch, mummified.
They're in
So
that
you
bitch.
got
Them giant ones are for them giants.
and they got them fucking 22-foot tall fucking tombs. There ain't a body this big in a fucking in a garbage can. You know what I mean? Like they're just not.
You got 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot motherfuckers in that.
And it don't stop there. Yo,
Yeah.
me and Ronnie truly believe in 30, 50 foot, 60 foot,
Oh, I mean, I do too. Don't get it fucked
Bro,
up.
like
for a
mountain-sized
fact, bro.
giants, bro.
Like, hey, they find the shit now over some shit.
I'm saying shit a while ago was a lot bigger when there was a lot more oxygen on this earth.
And the trees were bigger, feeding more
Telling you.
oxygen into the earth. And the water wasn't as polluted, so it was giving off more oxygen to the earth. Like there was so much, there was a lot of how the fuck do I say this? There was a few different ways where the earth was getting better oxygen back then because there just was there was no way to pollute the earth back then. They
Yeah.
didn't have the garbage, they didn't have the chemicals, they didn't have the fucking the ignorance the world has now, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Dude, I'm beating the shit out of this fly, bro. Every time I swing my hand, I'm just smacking a fly. And
Yeah, I'm trying to figure
I feel that bitch tapping my knuckle, bro. I feel that bitch just tapping my knuckle, and it goes shoo. Flies down the hallway for a little bit, comes back.
You better go potty and quit fucking scratching. Damn dog.
What kind of dog you got, Ronnie?
I got two. I got a German Shepherd Husky and I got a full-blooded German Shepherd.
Let's go to his house.
You will never see me at Ronnie's. Malibu just burnt the fuck out of itself, I think.
Little
I just
bit.
see him. I look up. I see him checking his finger out.
Bro, look.
Yeah.
I got my pink.
I live in Michigan, bro. You can't have no little dogs. You let a little dog out here, it's liable to get taken by a coyote
Or a fucking eagle.
I have
or a
to.
fucking eagle. Come on. Let's go.
You don't have your dog no more?
No. We ain't gonna get that.
What?
We ain't gonna get into that story, bro.
Scumpy,
We
what's
got
going on, my boy? Everybody, if you're tapping in, share us out. Thank you very much. Tap them reactions.
You burned yourself again.
The damn banger hot.
tends to be a little bit.
I got my
Quartz hold heat.
quartz is that, right? What's the white? What's the white?
Ceramic.
That shit gets hot, boy.
Ceramic really holds the fucking heat. That ceramic bottom right there. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it. I'm not used to it.
It takes some getting used to because the cooling temperature is real
Dude,
slow. That's when you gotta fucking bust out your fucking temp gun.
I
KG,
got
what
a
up?
metal
What
battery.
up, KT?
You know,
See you back.
bust out the temp gun, be like, ring.
Yeah, I had. Yo, a funny story about my temp gun, right?
Oh, you
So
broke
when
it,
I
didn't
got nah. I just don't have it. I don't have it no more. I can tell you that. But when I got my temp gun, I bought two of them shits because I'm like, all right, these kids are gonna see the laser on this bitch and want it. So I bought one for them. Well, my dumb ass has two kids.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, you gotta get those out.
Should have bought three.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put about 3 of
if I had $25 instead of 20.
them.
One of them moments. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
Like every time I go to use it, it's just war. So I just ended up stop using them, and then they ended up losing them.
hey, so I got some. You guys know where Lights are?
No,
Do
I've
what?
never heard of it. Not that I
A
know of.
Light, a Light rock. They're fucking cool as shit. They're UV reflector. So you take a UV light and you shine it on it, and it shines like lights up. That that's what my top marble is right now. I picked one up north.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
What we doing, boys? Huh?
Shit. They being bad. Being bad.
All right.
Stop the bullshit. I get you joking and playing, but there's a time and a place for shit. And 1 o'clock in the morning is
Oh,
not it.
damn, where Woods go? Woods dipped out.
Nah, he probably his Wi-Fi. KT, what you doing, bro? Yo, if he dipped out like
Closing
that, bro.
Chicago tunnel system. Huh? What I do?
If he dipped out like that, what one you watching? Are you watching one of those videos right now?
Oh yeah, you know it, bro. I've been hardcore on it.
All right, what one we watching? We watching it together. Let's go. What one you got on?
Chicago tunnel. Hold on, I'll give you the exact episode. Cause it's kind of nice, cause he at least numbers those fucking episodes.
Yeah, I don't.
Ah,
Yo, we calculated it up on the shit show. I'd be
yeah,
on like episode 250, bro.
bro. I don't even know what episode I'd be on.
Well, I'm for my shows. If I was talking lives, I don't even fucking know, bro. 3 years of live, going live, damn near every day.
Hold
Like,
on.
cause bro, I don't skip a beat unless it's for my fucking
All
life.
right, episode 80. Chicago tunnels, then and now. Exposure of Chicago's tunnel systems, because they're trying to say, I think we talked about it before, that Chicago's older than what the fuck they say it is.
Yeah.
Just like New York. New York's got fucking tunnels way, way down there.
Yeah. It's alright, you know. It's alright.
All right. I got how long ago was it posted?
1 month ago.
A little season in New York City. Let's go to your
Number
fucking
80.
squad.
Shit, it's already got 54K views. Shit.
Exposing Chicago's tunnel system.
Yup, number 80.
Oh yeah, all the time. That's why I like people like Ronnie.
Unless you want to do the dragon one.
I mean, I'm cool with Chicago. We got fucking Cam in Chicago. We got Worm in Chicago. We got well, not
Chirac,
Chicago,
baby.
but Illinois. We got
Hey,
fucking.
South
We
Side
got
over here, baby. I'm from the South Side.
yeah. We got
52nd
Woods.
Bishop.
We got Woods. We got Woods who used to live in Chicago.
Chirac.
So Chicago has a little love gang. Not affiliation, but people.
Jade
People in Love
affiliated
Gang.
over here, son. Gang.
Don't get me started,
Run your
Woods.
shit.
Don't get me started,
Oh,
Woods.
BD.
Don't get me started, Woods. Don't get me started.
Right under the
Gang
city of
banging over
Chicago. We know here on this channel that we are definitely not being told the full story regarding the tunnel systems all over the world, where they
Let's go,
start
y'all.
off by
Got them
telling
wolves
us that
hat
the
on.
very first
KT, enjoy the
major
video.
tunnel project
And if
was
you have
dug
any thoughts on what we're watching, KT, put them in the comments and we'll stop the video. We'll talk about it and we'll fucking
Fuck yeah.
we'll get it going. Let's do this shit the right way, y'all. Reactions with Krispy and the gang.
under Lake
That's
Michigan to a water intake 2 miles out in 1864 to 1866. This is 29 years before the invention of the power tool. Digging massive tunnel systems under the lake, where it goes on to say that Chicago kept on digging away, creating thousands of miles of underground structures, where in my opinion, this is the beginning of the narrative.
Isn't Chicago where they had all the bootleg beer and all the
Yup.
right?
Prohibition.
Oh yeah, Woods. Look at that, Wood.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, KT. What's up?
narrative for these tunnels that were created by the previous civilization. Thousands of miles of underground structures right underneath the city of Chicago.
That's why
all
Chicago.
according to public records.
Do you believe
in
that,
the
Ronnie? Do you think one day Chicago will just fall?
Yeah.
Bro, I believe with enough earthquakes, yeah, there's enough underground systems below us, and we've been mining the shit out of it, bro. Eventually, yeah, some shit's gonna fall in.
Chicago Public
We got some
Library.
shit falling in
let's
the
go
KFC
deeper.
parking lot.
I was able to locate someone that has recently been inside the tunnel systems.
Look at that
They
shit.
shared what
I was gonna say, can we take a look at this real quick?
Look at that.
Woods had to take a little time off for his family, get his shit. No, I say that's what we'll say. He took family leave.
Right, right. You had to take an
shit.
emotional break.
This shit ain't as easy as it looks, man. Going live every single day, like Ronnie, you know this shit ain't easy, man. Not all the time. You gotta have a mind of your own, creations of your own.
Yeah.
they saw with me. And now, I'm going to share it all with you. We have seen these photos. They are on the internet. And here it is today. We can see that the railway is still there on the floor, looking exactly like we see in these photos that we are told is from pre-1906. Over 120 years ago, I was sent other photos that I think you will all want to see. These tracks lead throughout the entire tunnel system, using them as transportation throughout the entire city. We have shown in episode 42 how these tunnel systems are in every single city in the world, how they connect all of the buildings together underground. These buildings.
How far underground are we talking?
Oh man.
Like ridiculously far?
Levels, bro. Like levels. Multiple levels.
Big.
Because this shit, bro, you got sewer, you got all these pipes, whether it be electrical or fucking gas or whatever the fuck, water.
Yeah, but you can always put that shit. Fuck, you see them come in all the time, running new fiber optic cables all along channels and shit along the fucking ceilings in buildings.
Yeah, just like fucking, you know them shits are all the way in the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, bro, major cables, dude. They started putting fucking the mainframes. It's cheaper to put them in a fucking container in the fucking ocean and keep them cool than it is to fucking run them in a building and burn up electricity.
Say that again. What do they do? They take
They're
what?
putting the computer mainframes, you know, where all of our fucking information stored.
Yeah.
They're fucking they putting mainframes under the fucking water in the ocean.
That's diabolical.
It's fucking essentially fucking cheaper to cool them.
That's dope though. That's a way to use your resources.
Right.
Then we can see. There is so much more under our feet than we realized before, where we can see that this tunnel system leads right to the Chicago City Hall, a building that we were told was constructed in 1911. Of course, holding the fire story, where this is a nod, meaning one of three things, or a combination.
This might have been the dude I was fucking watching earlier, bro, on fucking Facebook. He was doing an interview with somebody, and he said every city in America had a major fire between 1880 and 1890.
Dude, I always questioned the fucking Chicago fire. Even when I was younger, it just didn't make sense what they were teaching me in the history books.
Right.
Just
Bro.
didn't make no sense.
Them. in my opinion, of course. 1, it's letting them all know which building is from the old world. 2, where the catacombs are located. And or 3, where the tunnel systems are located. I believe it is a nod to these 3 things at this point. And we need to remember this for the future and keep track of what we continue to see throughout our research. They also tell us that there was a previous city hall. Now, it's very interesting that they tell us that these tunnels were constructed by the Chicago Tunnel Company. Great name. And their history begins by letting us know that there were initial tunnels. Initial tunnels. Are these not the tunnels that were found? You tell me. Especially when they go on to say that the city of Chicago had no idea what to do with these tunnels, granting the newly formed Illinois Telephone and Telegraph Company the rights to construct utility tunnels under the streets of Chicago in 1899. So 1899, they start making tunnels for phone lines. I thought we were told by the Chicago Public Library in their archives that they were digging thousands of miles of tunnels decades before this. That's right. We were told this. And the first telephone in Chicago didn't come until 1877. So what was Chicago doing digging tunnels for thousands of miles before the telephone? Because we know this wasn't the true purpose of these tunnels. And they are trying to push it off that they needed the tunnels for telephone cables in 1899, where we can see very clearly that the dates are beginning to collide. The very beginning of a massive narrative slip-up. So let's keep going. They continue on by saying that the initial plans for the tunnels called for filling them with phone cables, when we just showed that that is not true at all. This was not the initial plans for the tunnels. Not even close. We have found something massive, in my opinion. A massive lie. And here's where they're gonna try and explain why they have railways in all of these tunnels. When the city, of course, said no, you cannot use the manholes to get the cables into the tunnels. Of course they did. They say, yes, we need you to dig tunnels for our phones. But no, you can't use the manholes to actually get the cables down there. I'm gonna ask you, how ridiculous does that sound? Refusing to permit manholes through which cables could be unreeled into the tunnels. The plans were then changed, of course. Changed to include rails for hauling cable spools through the tunnels. Incredible. Where the city was largely unaware of the nature of tunneling. They didn't even know how big these tunnels were or where they went, saying they were unaware. Unbelievable. The clearest proof.
Working from the basement of a saloon. The first 16 miles, 26 kilometers of the tunnel were excavated somewhat covertly, working from the basement of a saloon and catering away spoil after midnight. So they took away all the rubbish and shit after midnight.
Tunnels, in my opinion. A huge sentence right there for our research.
So that shows right there that they were doing it from buildings and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That these tunnels were constructed by the previous civilization now. Are you able to see the truth? That
what if that's fucking like El Chapo and shit?
Previous civilization.
What if they were El Chapo's tunnels? What? How long ago was El Chapo and shit in fucking Chicago?
Fucking.
Wasn't it these times? We gotta wait for Ronnie. Ronnie will know.
I had to get a drink.
Yo, wasn't that little motherfucker's name El Chapo? The Chicago Slay Man or whatever the fuck?
The what?
The heavy fucking gangster from Chicago.
That was Al Capone.
Al Capone?
Yeah.
Was this around the time he was there?
You talking about Scarface?
I mean, yeah, Capone had tunnels, but nothing like that. He basically was using those tunnels that were already existed. they'd break the walls out of like the fucking basements of saloons and shit like that, clubs or fucking grocery stores, and make fucking swing joints, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Was here, much closer to our time.
I was gonna say, what if it was like how they did LA? What if he funded all the tunnels?
I mean, it was a fucking joint effort, bro. They have all that shit up there where you're
for
at.
us to see, for us to uncover. Where the first
Yeah, we got the
16
fucking
miles of
Underground
tunnels
Railroad
had
and
to
shit.
be excavated.
You got underground cities, bro.
Yeah, but like the Underground Railroad is up here and shit.
That's further down than the city.
You said we have underground cities? I don't know.
Yeah, you guys got a fucking some underground shit. We got to look that up on an episode, bro.
To remove
On Auburn, New York?
In New York, I don't know exactly where, but
from an area in order to find
New
buried
York. It's got to be
remains.
upstate though. Upstate
And we
New York.
are just getting started today. Welcome to episode 80 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day, and if you're new, welcome.
Oh shit.
It makes you wonder if he really does this shit on his lunch break.
bro, I thought the same
And
thing.
I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app. I'll put the link in the description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. He also has my lunch break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you to Rebecca K, Don Gaston, Christopher Arietta, The Lady Lacey Show, David and Sherry Ferguson, Edwin Johnson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, PNR, Stephanie Nolan, The Burlesons, Suez KC, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Edward and Brianna, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glasscock, PKTFnews.org, Regna Saturna, Dendries NL, Juana Mesher, Sirius Feline, G Power, Natalie Shippenoff, Amberson EMC, HK Sue, Isaac Wright, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Clayton Lamar, Ultimus Maximus, Noble Task Homestead, John Adams, Easy and Whitney, Roberts O'Zolins, The Crypto Schizo, Rick Tapkey, Schnicka McKissick, Victoria Murphy, Jesse DeLeon, Blake, Billy Prater, Magnus, Paraplegic Coffee, The Phoenix Art, Jetski
Holy
Chuck,
fuck.
of Miles, Jason Press, of
Who's
Miles
that? Holy
of
fuck.
Library, told
God
us
damn,
that
bro.
there are thousands. We remember that the darkness, you guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. Now, we remember that the public library told us that there are thousands of miles of underground structures. Is this limited to just tunnels? Or is this another proof that there are buildings, structures, exactly like they say, right under our feet?
Not like that. I can tell you they're not like that underground, but
No.
yes.
They're not like that.
Like I was just saying about that fucking, like I was just saying about that movie. That shit was fucking thousands of feet underground, and every level was a different lab of them studying something on humans.
Yeah.
And like this bitch was in the bottom, level 1. She was in level 1 and had to work her way up and go through all the fucking processes and steps and like,
Bro,
and, like
that's not,
they ended up fucking like fighting their way out and shit.
How are you?
that sounds like some Resident Evil shit.
Yeah, that sounds like too much. Yeah.
We in the Umbrella Lab now.
That's way too much.
Oh, Krispy. Episode number 42 is Tunnels Below Our Feet. All for alcohol? Question mark. Just so you know.
How long is this episode? Yeah, we got time, bro. Well, I got time. I got time.
Thousands of miles of underground structures.
Watch that
What are
one
we
next.
seeing today? I think we have unlocked something massive.
No.
I think they are.
I feel like we should watch that one first, but we already started watching this one and we're about
Yeah.
10 minutes in, so there's no fucking sense.
Nope.
are very aware of what is under the ground at this
Just
point.
chilling,
And they
KT.
were
How
rediscovering
is
it
how are
in the
you?
18 and
How are you,
1900s.
KT?
And we are now following behind them
See?
Doing pretty good. Chilling,
right
chilling.
now. It's all out there. If you're able to read
Oh, there's a door to an underground building right there.
What? What?
I don't know. That's impressive to me. I don't know. For them to figure out how to actually do that back then,
Underground? Yeah.
oh yeah, underground. I mean, dude, that's
Bro,
impressive as fuck.
like
I don't
they
care who
had
you are.
whole fucking palaces all the way in Iraq, bro. Palaces.
That shit be crazy.
with open eyes, it clearly states that there are thousands of miles of underground
miles.
structures right under the city of Chicago with
Where were
maximum
they?
use
Where were the
of
cats?
scarce real estate. Is this not exactly what we want to see? Is it not putting everything together for us? Connecting it all, showing
First, you
that
know,
buildings are
Garden
underground,
or
real estate
King.
underground. Thousands of miles of underground structures right under the city of Chicago. We now know that this is here. It is no longer a question of if the previous civilization's work is underground. It's now a matter of just finding them and exposing them to everybody in the world. We now know that they are there. We have photos of inside the tunnels. We know that they lead to all of the buildings. Thousands of miles of tunnels, underground structures, underground real estate. We know
Underground real estate. Underground real estate. Don't let nobody go that. Don't let that go over your heads, bro. Underground real estate is crazy. It's like, yeah, can I buy this plot under this ground? You know what I mean?
Bro, it's going on right now. How many motherfuckers look? Our fucking all of our governments are building bunkers.
Yeah, that's why they're buying fucking retarded amounts of fucking land.
Yeah.
They're literally buying retarded stupid amount.
Thousands of miles of tunnels. We were told this. Yet, here in 1910, the system is only showing us 60 miles on the map. So we know that there's a lot of tunnels that are not being shown to us today. And we know that these tunnels connect to these buildings, and I'm going to show that soon, including the City Hall. It's so interesting to me that they leave this part of the story out every single time. We have never seen in any construction story that they connected the local tunnel to the building. We don't see that the City Hall also has a tunnel system connected to it within the narrative. Yet we know that the City Hall is 100% connected to this massive tunnel system. I have also located first-hand accounts of these tunnels where this individual worked at the Field Museum of Natural History in the late 1970s, where he explains that the building was a customer of the Chicago Tunnel Company, where the tunnel was connected via an elevator. He explains that after all the freight cars were abandoned, they were destroyed and scrapped, except for one, which remained in the Field Museum's sub-basement, a basement to the
cut off from the rest of the system.
Basement is what we are reading. This building is much.
That means it had a basement under the basement.
Yeah.
Sub basement, right?
Dude, and just for reference, I'll tell everybody right now, the Field Museum is fucking huge. It will take more than one day to get through that bitch.
That's it right there, right?
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
Like one of the massive, like fucking, what's that one? What's that one they made the movie about? Night at the Museum. What's that one?
Oh, that's one over by you, bro.
No, it's in like Washington and shit.
That's over by you.
What the fuck? The Smithsonian. That one.
Yeah, Smithsonian. Yeah, that's big. I don't even think that's as big as that bitch.
Really? I was gonna say that's the biggest museum that I actually know about. Like,
bro. Yeah, they've added on to that bitch throughout the years.
And that has fucking levels to it. That has subdivisions.
They got a whole ass fucking cool fucking mine ride in that bitch that takes you way down.
Yeah.
Much bigger than we are told. Cut off from the rest of the tunnel system was a train from the past. The manager of the physical plant, Norman, took this individual down there, and he says it seemed at the time they would remain there forever. Well,
That's creepy. That's creepy. Bro, imagine you're going somewhere with somebody and you feel like there's no return. It's like you're just going down. Bro.
Feel like you're fucking going in the vault
them in
with
the
fucking Harry Potter.
Yo, yeah.
late 1990s, of course. And then the Illinois Railway Museum took them over. Supposedly saved and are now preserved there, where you can read about them here. Here, meaning 404 page not found. So I would be shocked, personally, if they're still there today, just knowing what we know. For anyone that wants to check it out, it is located at 7000 Olson Road, Union, Illinois, right outside of a town called Marengo. Very interesting stuff. I would love to know if those carts are still there, or if they would tell us
Look, you got the fucking triangle.
that they ever had them. And if they would have a further
See for yourself that all is safe.
story about them.
What's that
From the
sign
rest
say?
of the tunnel system was a train from the past where you can stuff. I would love to know if those carts are still there.
Did you notice the cross?
The safety committee, they overlooked something. See for yourself.
Do you see the cross?
Down here, right?
Right.
Yeah, with the
Now-
circle.
Now flip that sumbitch up, and what does it look like?
Yeah, that's the first thing I said is you got the fucking triangle.
Uh,
And then literally it says the safety committee. They overlook. It looks like it says they overlook something. See for yourself.
Cody's
That all
back.
is safe.
what up, Cody McNeese?
Cody, what's going on, my boy?
What up? What up?
Let's give Cody his proper introduction. Cody, welcome to the motherfucking vibe show, my boy. You know what I mean? KT, you're here till 1:15. We're here till 3 o'clock.
I'm here till I get
Tell
tired.
us that they ever had them. And if they would have a further story about them. So this story continues on to say that on April 13th, 1992,
That's 3 years before I was born. 3 years.
That's
some
two, that's 2 years
Yeah,
after I was
yeah.
born.
summer called the Chicago Flood began, where contractors accidentally disturbed the clay surrounding one of the freight tunnels.
You hear how he said accidentally.
Yeah, whatever.
Of course they did. Do you think this
Cody, you been watching? Have you been watching or are you just coming in?
I was only watching for like 5 minutes.
What do you think so far from what you've seen?
Like I didn't get the whole conversation about the Antarctica shit. But I don't know what to think about it.
this was an accident? You gotta let me know in the comments. Where the leak
don't believe
wasn't
anything was an
taken
accident.
seriously at first. Where it turned into a breach near the Chicago River. With eventually
Coincidence
hundreds
doesn't
of
exist.
millions of
There's a
gallons of
lot.
water flowing into the tunnel system and into the sub-basements of many Chicago buildings. Again, I'm gonna ask, knowing what we know, do you think this was an accident?
No, it was not. They tried to cover it up. They tried to cover it up with water. Dude, let me ask you guys something. And I'm being serious as hell. Because they say it's a myth and this, that, and the third. Do you believe underwater Atlantis is real?
Bro, yeah.
Do you believe that there's a sunken city? A sunken city?
There's plenty of
No.
shit underneath the water, bro. Plenty of shit. Like when it says in the Bible that God flooded the earth, there was a major flood. There's fucking evidence of this.
Oh yeah, like there were giants. I believe in giants.
There's a lot of shit in the Bible that was fucking true. A lot of shit of it you gotta filter out what the fuck man put into it and changed it.
Yeah.
But Majority of that shit was fucking real. They seen something.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a form of realism to everything in this fucking existence. Like, so, I think it was real at one point. Not to what we think it was. I think it was greater than what we think it was.
To what aspect?
Not
The
like the
power,
technology. Not like
power,
the
knowledge.
no, like their. I don't know. It is considered technology, like their architecture and shit and all that. The tools they fucking. I'm still baffled by the fucking pyramids.
Imagine if them bitches were flipped upside down. That would baffle me.
No, there was a
No,
theory
there
that that's
is
how they were fucking built. Was fucking they built a pyramid upside down and then moved the fucking sand away. You know what I'm saying?
What if it's just a giant cube and you're only seeing half of it?
Yo, this fucking guy.
I guess it'd be more like a diamond, like like
Yeah.
like a long diamond,
Yo, that's funny. Yo, that's fucking hilarious.
Or do you
I mean,
think
they're
this was
digging
a
up more and
destruction
more
project
like
where a man named Bruce had his 15 minutes of fame because he was the only recognized expert on the tunnel system, where the great majority of people, of course, had no idea such a thing even existed? Where I think that 20
Have you
to
guys
30
ever
years
followed,
later, now,
the
we may be
Book of Enoch?
Hey,
The what?
you keep playing over there.
The what?
Have you ever like followed any of like the Book of Enoch and shit? Or, like,
Which book? There's actually 3 books of it, Cody.
no, I'm just saying like
Yeah,
followed
I
like
know.
Enoch. I'm not saying any specific book.
Yeah, yeah, we know it. I know it.
Hell yeah, KT. You have a good
Oh
night.
yeah, KT. Have a good night.
Appreciate
He's
it.
Stay
the
blessed,
he's
not
the, he's the
stressed.
writer of the tablets. He's the word of God.
KT, I'll come up. I'll come up with something about over there where you're at. Give me a day. I'll come up with something juicy about over there.
Oh, Ronnie. Alright, so I seen a video. These motherfuckers are putting the tattoo guns in 3D printer holders and doing it themselves now. So tattoo artists are about to go out of business.
What?
Like the tattoo pens, like the tattoo gun I have, it's like a little Slim Jim pen.
Yeah.
Well, they put them, where your filament comes out of your nozzle on your 3D printer. Well, they replaced that and put just like a little clamp in to fucking hold a tattoo gun, and they just sat there and 3D printed a fucking badass tattoo on themselves.
Huh.
You'd
So-
probably have to do it like 2D, so it'd be a flat picture instead of like trying to go. Because if you went over and over and over your lines, you'd hamburger your shit back.
I just fucking run it in G code for a fucking laser etching, which would be in 2D.
Yeah, oh man, dude, I'm about to invest in a 3D print. Like, even
What do you
just
mean, dude? People are straight lasering tattoos now. They don't even use a tattoo gun anymore, bro.
Yeah,
Tattoos
I've
about to
seen
be
that.
gone.
I'm
They're
not trying
straight
to
putting
have
Cody. They're straight putting their arm under
Yeah.
a laser that Ronnie uses.
Yeah.
Put in a picture
Somebody-
that they're like.
Somebody tagged
going-
me in one. I know exactly what Crispy's talking about.
I'm gonna have to look up one of those. Is it like a burn, or is it an actual like?
It's a
No,
burner.
it's not ink.
Right.
It's
so
actual burner.
It's like
It's probably a quarter watt. Cause my 70 out there, that motherfucker burns straight through you.
Yeah.
Anything
I bet
organic,
that.
it's going through.
Yeah, I definitely want to try like my tattoo gun in a fucking 3D printer just to see like how good of a fucking I don't know. I want to do something badass.
See, I don't want
Shit.
tattoo. It's only showing me tattoo removal.
Be
Yeah,
right
that's
back
what
to
I thought
that
it
point,
was.
showing
Like,
how fast people
the
forget
raised,
things.
they're called like the
Showing that the
raised
majority
tattoos.
Written tragedy. Chicago.
They're like brand tattoos.
Old
Let's go back to the
submarine.
fucking
people,
video.
yet again,
Let's get
need to
back
be
to the
shown these tunnels and
shit.
understand what is below their feet.
Now, by September, they had built a complete ramp. I'd like to see that happen today.
Where was this out of? Is this Chicago?
That happen
Yeah.
today this fast.
Okay.
40 feet of water.
The Chicago
And there's
tunnels.
another 2 floors below that. And there's another 2 floors below that. For me, it started back in high school and
I didn't
college.
think it was
And
storming
one
out
day,
on
the
my life.
light bulb went off. Gee, my dad is the night supervisor at Marshall Fields. Maybe they have an opening. And they did. And they did. There's water in the Pittsfield building and Marshall Field.
Let's look at that picture. Substructure of Marshall Field and Company's
Retail
retail store of Chicago. And that's what's
Damn.
under it. The
Dang.
basement,
Huh?
second basement,
They're talking about
subway
fucking
floor,
tunnels and like
machine room, shipping room,
the city.
sales room, street
What
level.
was built under the city from back in early fucking
That's crazy.
in the 1900s.
I don't know what that says.
Where the cities were
In
actually
the
cities.
city hall and this place and that place. And we don't know where it's coming from. And I thought, I know.
I'd say it was like
All
early.
those places had one thing in common. All older buildings, all older buildings, all older
Maybe
buildings,
mid-1800s.
all older buildings that were connected to the freight tunnels still.
And a very
I didn't do
interesting
that.
note
I just
here,
want to let you
down at
know.
the bottom of the article, where on
All the
September
buildings.
1st, 2000, the Central Electric Railfans Association hosted a rare inspection tour of parts of the underground
That's a year before the Twin Towers.
tunnel system. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we are told that this is not likely to be repeated anytime soon. On the wake of something that happened in 2001, there are now security concerns. The old tunnel system, a vital part of Chicago's infrastructure, a vital part of the old world, our true history, our true past, is now closed off from public access.
Oh,
Now,
so
it
the
is very-
public used to be able to go into the tunnel systems?
Yeah.
For what?
For homelessness.
Like why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like why did they want to?
The vagabond.
See the sack of bones down there.
Nah, but like if they were building these tunnels initially for the purpose of telephone wires and all this shit, why would it need public access? So now I'm just fucking lost.
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
possible that these tunnels were found, connecting the old world buildings together,
It's
connecting
like
under
they're not making a fucking amusement park under there. It's like they're just
Look,
like,
They're trying to get to the hollow earth. They're making their own tunnel.
yo, I believe in that shit. We'll talk about that another time. That could be another fucking stream for another day. But yeah, I believe that the journey to the center of the earth, they didn't make that movie for nothing.
Right.
bro, the fucking new Godzilla King Kong movie fucking tells it all.
Oh no, what's it play on? What apps does it play on?
Huh?
What movie apps does it play on?
Bro,
What'd
I
you watch?
literally just watched that shit on motherfucking YouTube, bro.
Really?
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
Oh, I'm about to watch that
Yeah,
music
send me that shit when you send me that shit when you get a chance.
on
Come on.
YouTube.
Real estate.
YouTube movies and TV.
I got premium, so I should be good.
Oh well, fuck you.
Yeah.
structures.
I can't
as
do
we
the
were
ads,
told.
man. The
Finding
ads
these
piss me off.
tunnels,
Right.
then our
They've been fucking me
civilization
up.
constructed their
I'd be
form
so
of
invested into a
transportation
video and an ad
throughout this
pops up, I
system,
forget the
with
fucking
the
first 10
railways
minutes of the
being
video.
laid after finding these tunnels. This is a possibility, but in my opinion, there is one thing that is for sure, is that these tunnel systems, these structures that we are unable to see now, have been there for a very long time, much longer than we have been told. And they are still here from the previous civilization, a civilization that was here only a few hundred years ago, in my opinion. Using electric locomotives in the underground tunnel. Very interesting. Naming this the Great Chicago Tunnel from 1908. Do you live here in this area today? Here's a public map, the one that they are showing us, from 1915, of the Chicago tunnel system that sits right below your feet today.
How many do you think that is? I kind of want to count them. How would you count these? Is it like the little one? Is that one tunnel? Or is it like that whole line one tunnel?
Can you make your screen bigger? So is the red just the tunnel lines?
Yeah.
So count every vertical line and then go and count every horizontal line.
Uh-huh.
I bet it's 100 tunnels. I feel like there's over 100 squares right there.
I don't know. I can't.
Remember, there are thousands of miles of tunnel systems in this city alone. So this is obviously not everything.
You guys rather have it like this?
But it does show that there
Yeah,
is
I
much
like
more
that.
below our feet right now. With another map titled Chicago Freight Tunnel System, Underground Transportation. Zooming in, we can
Okay,
see
that makes
that
sense
the
now,
public was allowed to know that they are 40 feet below the surface of Chicago.
40 feet of water. And
Hey,
there's another
nuclear
2
bounty can
floors
still
below
fuck them
that.
up.
40 feet of water. And there's
Gotta go
another
20 more
2
feet before you're
floors
safe.
below that.
And pass under the river 11 times, holding 734 intersections, 26 private connections. Very interesting. Probably more than that. What do you think? Going on to the back of this thing, where it tells us that many warehouses and stores have direct private connections with the tunnels. These connections consist of approaches, switches, shafts, and elevators, which carry the tunnel cars to the levels above. And this is where things get very interesting, if they haven't been already. How tunnels are built in. In many of these cases, the tunnel connection was a part of the original plan of building construction. Do I need to read that again? I will anyway.
Woods over here
Was
playing
a
fucking
part
peekaboo.
of the original plan of building
Wi-Fi over here
construction.
bullshit,
This
bro.
was done on
Yeah, I know you.
purpose.
The old
And
lady
I have
wrote me.
not seen one time in a narrative where they tell us about the construction of a building's tunnel system, where it should definitely say that, according to this document.
Hold on,
where
let's
they
see what the
state
original
that
plan
a-
was now. Many thousands of dollars have been expanded on the private
That's
connection.
what I've already been reading ahead.
Warehouse terminals, facilities, and many connections, and many of these.
Everyone's head is in the way of the last bit of the words.
Where it says link building in the bulk of package freight which enters and leaves that vast structure goes by way of the tunnels. Thus, the tunnels and the tunnel service have been substantially built in Chicago's system of distribution and have become an
Shit,
integral
my
part of
phone's
it.
about to die. Alright, I gotta go for my phone's about to die.
Dude, so
All
I
right,
feel
Ronnie.
like Chicago
Y'all,
is
man,
probably
love y'all.
like one of the oldest
Yes, sir,
fucking
homie. You stay blessed. Much love, my
spots in
guy.
America.
So pretty much right there is what they're saying is that fucking they're building the tunnels for fucking transportation of fucking what they do outside. They're doing.
So have we been lied to? Like, there's like this whole fucking technology civilization just hundreds of years before us, and we're just coming from like 150 years away from a horse and buggy.
Yeah. Type shit.
Yeah.
So
Type
like
shit,
yeah,
type
so
shit.
like my whole life is a fucking lie. Goddamn.
Yeah, that's what Ronnie was. That's why we started watching the video, because Ronnie said that Chicago is older than what we're told. So basically, what you just fucking said is
So
what
so
you.
so so I do believe when they say 1 × 1 = 2.
I guess. Yeah.
Like it's not 1, it is actually 2. Because like to multiply is to double at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when you multiply something
But
only
When you
one.
multiply, the minimum multiplication you can do is 2. That's why that's the word multiply is to separate. So
So how do you multiply by 1?
you don't.
is this
That's why
one?
1 that's why 1
How do
×
you,
1 = 2, not
do you
1.
know who? Do you know who Terrence Howard is?
Yes, I do. I watched that video, bro.
Yeah. The fucking 5 dimension and the 6 dimension and the fucking 4th dimension.
I wish I had a fucking like an iPhone so I could test out that fucking whole number theory.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. Wow. Terrence Howard seems like a fucking nutcase to me. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
You don't talk about fucking DJ like that. Whoop that trick.
That's just fucking hilarious, bro.
Part of the building's construction. There has not been a single time that the narrative has explained how this was done, or even mentioned that a tunnel
Yes. Well, not to the community, but yes, there was. They put it in documents and shit.
was connected to the building. Was this
They said that they fed the initial tunnels. They found them in the initial tunnels. That means the tunnels were already there by fucking past civilizations, because Chicago is older than it is, and they're lying. What's the point of? I don't understand that though.
So does that
Like
mean
that's
yeah, we did learn all of our architecture and our fucking everything from like this place. I feel like this is like one of the oldest places on this continent.
what,
What up?
America?
No, like what they're telling us right here. I feel like this is like I don't know,
Oh,
like you don't know what's under any
Chicago?
D Mick, what's going on, my boy? Welcome to the motherfucking chat.
Dude, I'm glad I don't live in like a major city. Like, I mean, I'm not that far away from Chicago. I'm only like an hour and a half away from Chicago.
Yeah, see, I used to live over there.
Right now, we are looking up exposing Chicago's tunnel system. So
I would
we
definitely
had
get lost. I would be like a lost. Like they put me on a missing persons list because I would go exploring this fucking thing. Put me on a
But
milk carton.
on your mom's.
Pussies.
What did you call me?
You talking about pussies? Blue waffle pussies? Nasty. Fucking
No,
gross.
you can sit here and camp the rest of the fucking game.
Well,
Play that. Oh, Chris is not even there. His computer. I'm like saying, play that fucking video, motherfucker.
a video about the railroads and shit.
I think I need to get me some fucking ice cream.
yo, that's
The show
random as
gets
fuck.
good.
Hell yeah, we got a little bit of topic tonight, guys. It's been a
Yeah, we
minute since
do.
we had a topic night. So Woods, what I try to typically do, since you're technically new to the Vibe shows, I try to pick topics. Try to pick topics for the night and dive deep into them. Try to conversate about them. Try to see what we can find on YouTube and shit about them, videos, and
Hell
and
yeah.
see if and whether it's far left or far right with what people believe. We try to come to an agreement and see if we believe it, if it's fake, if it's true, and shit like that. So
And a
shit,
lot of
this shit.
us come to it like a fucking very like mutual fucking agreement on everything.
Like,
I'll be right back.
and the agreement is always like, yeah, this shit probably happened, bro.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes the shows really do get good.
Of the building this was done, or even mentioned that a tunnel was connected to the building. Was this an attempt to...
Oh yeah, they're talking about the fucking the courthouse again. The courthouse. Yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't
back at the
say
city
that.
hall again.
Yeah, they didn't say there was a tunnel connected to that. Though.
hide that these buildings now hold this tunnel system, a tunnel system that is massive, right under our feet, that is no longer available to the public after 2001. Can you see that these tunnel systems
Why?
may
Because
be
if not,
used
people
for
trying to
something
kill
else
us and
now?
do that shit.
You tell me. Again, I'll ask. Now
Right?
knowing
What if
what
they?
we know.
Yo, what if they caught wind of that shit? What if they caught wind of our underground tunnels? Hey, yo,
How
they
did they?
just blew.
How did they know how to just all of a sudden infiltrate our fucking flight patterns and systems like that?
Because they didn't know anything about underground. they know we got they know we got airplanes and aircrafts and shit. They didn't know we got these
Yeah.
fucking. They didn't know they got these tunnels we could blow out from under your feet. Yo,
Oh, hell
imagine,
no.
yo, fuck 9. Like no, not fuck 9/11. As bad as that sounds, but like, dude, 9/11. What if they would have got fucking wind of them tunnels under our fucking feet and went and blew them bitches up instead of the towers? They would have leveled
Damn.
our bitch asses.
That
Yeah.
would have been real Chirac, huh?
Yo, they would have leveled our bitch asses. We'd have no chance. We wouldn't
Yeah,
even be
hell no. We
celebrating. We
been
wouldn't
done.
even be celebrating no win, no nothing.
No BD. No.
Hell nah. King Vana would have never happened.
Hell no.
Yo, God.
Where
Yo, that's
are we
crazy,
really?
bro. That's
Do
crazy.
we
Damn, that
That's,
was fucked,
that's
bro.
crazy to think about.
fully
You would have never seen
understand
no
that there
police
are
shoot at Chief Keef.
No, yeah. Not New York rappers, because 9/11 happened in New York. So we got to think of New York
Yeah.
rappers. So, like,
Yeah, Pop Smoke and all
Pop
that.
Smoke wouldn't have happened. Fucking, who else came from New York? I don't even, Cassidy, fucking people like that,
Yeah.
Nas.
Biggie, you know, all that.
Yeah, Biggie, of course, Biggie. Brooklyn boy.
Biggie was dead before. Biggie was dead before 9/11 anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so it wouldn't matter, dude.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Biggie could give a fuck less. He was
Yeah,
selling
he
crack
like,
rock.
fuck it.
He was selling crack
Everybody
rock by the
died.
goddamn towers. He was over there by the
We
towers
got
slinging that shit.
Diddy's faggot ass.
Yeah, we got Diddy
Yeah, fucking
or Diddy
dude.
not.
Diddy diddle your diddle.
And then who else we got from New York? There's mad New York rappers, bro. But like when you always have to think of, yeah, 50. I don't know. I don't know when I have to think
Isn't
about.
Post Malone from New York?
Oh, he's from Syracuse. Technically, he moved away from Syracuse when he was like 4.
So it's like, hell no.
Yeah. Yo, my buddy Joey's one time was like, "Yo, my cousin said he sat next to Post Malone in 5th grade." I was like, "Bro, you."
I read an
I was like,
article where his manager said he smelled like spoiled milk.
yeah, he doesn't wear cologne. He doesn't shower with fucking scented shit. He said he has a euphoria.
Boy, better get in the bath.
Yeah.
Better go live with the
than
fucking
just
feral
hallway
people.
type tunnels right under our cities.
I even found the name of the chef, but not a word about what they were served. Not a word about what they were served.
I think it's almost nap
The
time.
ones that we are shown and told about, where I believe
what
that
I'm
we are
doing.
past this point in our knowledge. I think we
They had a
know
dose of
that
that
there is so
666.
much more below the ground. Structures, rooms,
So is this the only picture of the tunnel that they got besides the one in that door? Like, what the fuck's down there? Go down there, bitch.
Buildings, places
Get
we
down
are
there.
definitely not allowed to go or ever see.
It's like there's even shit like right here. You can see where it turns, and there's shit off here.
Then you just see some creepy ass people
If they
just
have
crawling around
hallways, they
All
have
right, well,
more.
I'm jumping off here. I gotta get to bed. I gotta work in the morning.
Alrighty, Cody. You have a
there.
good fucking night, my boy.
Peace
Good
out.
night. Stay blessed.
12 stories and almost as many floors below ground as above. Some buildings in the loop had their basements lowered so they could meet the tunnel. This is one of them. I believe this is one over at near Monroe and Wabash, where they've actually lowered the basement.
These underground tunnels, bases, these are not new ideas. We know this. And we have seen a lot of.
Look at the people under here, though. The people under here, like, they're not workers, bro. These are not workers.
No,
These are
they ain't
not people
fucking
that are.
mobsters, bro.
Oh. Where's Al Capone? Is he right here? Is this
Oh,
Al?
like him.
I kind of do, right? Hold up. Hold the fuck up. You ain't getting off scot-free, Al Capone. I've seen that picture before.
I've definitely seen that woman before. At least like that type of
What?
fucking whole setup and face like that.
Where you from, bitch?
Yeah, for real.
I know I've
Gotta
seen
question
you before.
her.
Yo, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Look at the hat. Look at the fucking hat.
Hey,
Look at
that's
the hat.
him, bro.
I
Look
see
at the
it.
fucking
Oh
hat.
God, that's her. Oh, that's him.
And look at his
That-
face.
that's
He's got
her.
like a round face, right?
Oh, yeah, that's her, bro. And
Yo,
him.
dude, that's fucking Al Capone. Yo, Ronnie, I gotta tell Ronnie. I gotta show Ronnie. I'm sending this to Ronnie right now. Hold on.
Yeah,
Ronnie.
that's him. Told you that's
Yo,
mobsters right here, bro.
Ronnie, check it
Yeah,
out.
for real.
Remember how I said I think Al Capone was part of the tunnel system? Look at this motherfucker. Check it out. The rounded face, the hat. Check it out. Hold up. The rounded face, the hat.
And he was like,
That
say
guy looked
hello
like he
to
got
my
a bloody
little
nose.
friend.
Say hello to the Tommy gun. Yo, I hope he watches this video like right now. Bro, that's crazy. Yeah, Al, we caught you, buddy.
Yeah, we got you and your girl.
Yeah, we got you, buddy.
For real.
Yeah, that's why he hiding his face. He's like, yep, they got me, bro.
Bro, we might spend a couple days on this. Fuck.
Wow. But this one is the biggest of them all.
Wait, on the back it says Palmer. Oh yeah, it was. That's the street names.
Telling us that no other city has tunnels.
Lies. Did you hear Ronnie? I believe Ronnie when he talks. When Ronnie talks, I shut up. If you guys notice that when Ronnie talks, I shut up because there's information to be fucking gathered most of the time. No other city anywhere has an underground system for the transportation of freight, and it does not diminish the interest. You guys go to bed, stop opening and shutting doors and coming in and out. Please, thank you. Poopy go night night.
Are you kidding me? We know that they do. We have seen this. This is from a pamphlet issued probably, maybe. It might have been in the early 1940s, but they can't seem to remember anything from 80 years ago by the Chicago Tunnel Company.
That's because they're too busy trying to cover it up. When you tell so many lies and there's so many lies to keep up with, you might forget a couple. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a couple to be forgotten. And then when you slip up and make something else up for the lie that you forgot, then you got to go back and they bring up the lie that you forgot. And then you're like, fuck, but why did I say that?
to advertise
Trust me, I've done it.
its services to local businesses and railways. So I'm going to ask you all a question. Do you really think that the tunnels are all done now? Do you think they haven't been expanded? Do you think that in the last 100 years they just stopped making tunnels? Or do you think that
Hell
Chicago has an even bigger, more in-depth underground system than we?
I think that they have cities connected to each other. Fuck buildings. Look at that shit that Elon Musk did. Do you know what Elon Musk did, Woods?
no.
This motherfucker got tired of sitting in traffic. So he said, okay, I'm going to build my own road under the traffic. And now
Right?
Elon Musk does no longer have to sit in traffic no matter where the fuck he goes. He's got a tunnel. He don't even got to touch nothing. He gets in and it fucking shoots him like a fucking goddamn capsule.
Yeah, because
But
it's
he's
a
sitting.
Tesla, and it's a
Yeah,
goddamn autopilot.
it's a fucking. It's literally a Tesla on rails,
Hell yeah.
and it's like hyper gliding. It's like fucking. It's like on mag. It's like it's not even fucking on rails. It's like magnetic type shit. You know Elon. You know Elon, robot. That little robot.
We could ever imagine. Do you think every city might have this? Let me know.
They are in Wabash over at the Palmer House. What's really odd is I found this photo long after I
I was about to say, what if he pointed out fucking El Capone?
had taken this photo at the exact same location.
Whoa. Okay.
Never imagine. Do you think every city might have this? House Hotel, where we are. 17 East Monroe Street, Chicago, Illinois. We have the Palmer House Hotel, where we are told that there have been multiple Palmer House hotels on this exact same site. When the first Palmer House was built as a wedding present in September of 1870, because we all know that building a massive hotel
Palmer's
in
always had
downtown
that-
Chicago and giving it away as a wedding present.
Is Palmer like a last name?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the 1800s was very normal. This was a common gesture back then. Do you
Imagine that being a common gesture, bro. You'd be like, here's a hotel.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even rent no rooms. I'd just sleep in a different room every night.
Right? My
The fuck?
Nah, I definitely have to turn a couple into some rooms that I'd like, and then keep the rest actual rooms.
Yeah. Y'all make more money though.
Nah. Not if you, bro. If you're giving hotels as gifts, you don't need to make more money, bro. Let's just put it that way.
For
Like, bro,
real.
I just gave you a hotel. You ain't worried about money. I ain't worried about money. There's no way we have to be, or else we wouldn't be giving each other hotels and shit.
Right?
Like, fuck. Let's just give you an underground tunnel.
You think these photos where buildings are bigger underground, do you think that these are just myths now?
Holy fuck! What is this?
Mm.
Let me know in the comments below. I'm extremely interested to hear all of your comments. I try to read most of them, and I appreciate all of your ideas and support. And
Still
before we
good.
go on, let's take a minute and thank all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber, and everybody who likes the video. Because of all of you, we are able to have an episode every single week. Because of all of you, we have upgraded our team here. We are able to show information that has been hidden for far too long, showing it to thousands and thousands of people every Saturday on YouTube and Rumble. We're also over on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. If you're interested in even more content,
I'm going over on X and following them motherfuckers so they keep popping up and we can keep talking.
What the fuck? What the fuck is that shit even for?
content from us. I'm very thankful for all of your support, and we have a lot more incredible stuff on the way. We're just getting started. The Illinois Tunnel Company. What a name. We have tunnel systems documented on atlasobscura.com stating that these tunnels are connected to these buildings that I'm going to name right now. The City Hall,
Ronnie said, bro, that's him.
Mart, the Federal Reserve Bank, the Chicago Tribune Building, the Civic Opera House, the Field Museum, and dozens of others, where they were pumping tunnel air into theaters and hotels as natural air conditioning. Going back to the Field Museum.
That's gangster, bro. We ain't paying for your motherfucking air. We just gonna fart in these tunnels and make it go your way, bro.
No.
That stale ass air from that tunnel, you know what I'm saying? Fuck it. That's how you know it was mobs. They're like, we don't care if it cools them down. They just need to feel that breeze. They need to feel that breeze, you know what I'm saying?
Museum. Yeah. If you want to check out Old World Order, the awesome documentary put out by Sean Hibbler over on the Stu Peters Network on Rumble. Sean and I went into the Field Museum and talked to the security guard. He let us know that there was water underneath the building. A great documentary. In 1959, the Chicago Tunnel Company went out of business, of course, and sold everything for $64,000. To who? Who bought the...
I'm gonna say, yeah, to who? Words of Electric Railway Journals, the tunnel saw their peak usage in the 40s and 50s, but struggled financially because of Chicago Tunnel Company went out of business. So who?
This company and acquired all of their assets, or the old world's assets. According to the Chicago Tribune, the city assumed control of the tunnel system. So there we have it, where we find out that more buildings are connected, or they used to be, when in the early 1940s, the subway cut it off from the major department store clients along State and Dearborn, such as the Boston store. They have an underground tunnel.
That was a store?
Mm-hmm.
State and Dearborn, such as the Boston.
What the fuck are you buying in there? Everything?
Everything. Yeah,
what
everything.
the fuck?
Everything.
Bro, I want to go to Chicago just to see the massive.
That's in downtown, bro.
You've seen that building?
Yeah.
It looked just like that for real?
Hell no.
Or it look a little run down now.
Yeah.
It still got flags on it? Okay.
Store. They have an underground tunnel. Carson Perry Scott got one too. The Fair, the Davis Store, Mandel Brothers, and F.W. Woolworth and Company.
Dude, buildings back then were just so fucking huge. Now they're so minimalistic and short.
All of these buildings got a tunnel back then, all connecting these buildings.
Look at that,
and
for
we,
what?
of course, remember the accidental.
It's like, what are you doing on every one of those floors? For real.
Flood from 1992.
It's like, dude, I can't even think of that many sentences.
Where it was, of course, an accident. Wait, what is this? A court case where it was revealed that the city was aware the tunnel was leaking before the flood. And the city basically allowed it to happen, where they knew it was leaking and did not properly maintain the tunnel, allowing for the breach and the destruction of the tunnel. Very interesting information. I wonder why they allowed it in 1992, where we are told that a man named George W. Jackson led the Illinois Tunnel Company. And when you begin to dig into this guy's narrative, it begins to reveal everything. When we find an article in the Chicago Examiner from January 1909, this entire operation, this company, is tied to something very strange here. Remember when we were told the public map in 1910? Well, right before 1910, an event took place in 1909, 1 year before. The cost of construction had bankrupted the Illinois Tunnel Company, which is the exact same year. All a coincidence, of course, that this event took place as well. 1909, same year. 67 didn't make it by fire in an unprecedented lake disaster. Flames follow explosions. All of this happening 2 miles from the shore, inside the tunnels, where 48 were recovered. And it is known that many others are beneath the surface of the lake. Again,
Damn.
I'm going to ask you all, are we
I
sure
told you.
that these fire narratives
Shit crazy.
are what they are? Are they not nods telling us what they found? I'm simply asking questions because we have seen so many times that these questions end with answers. Exact identification will probably never be made of many of them, for most of them are headless, burned or dismantled, all connected to George W. Jackson Company. Were these bones found within the tunnels, possibly bones of the past, and explained away with this narrative? Trapped in the tunnel
Go to bed. Stop coming
160
out.
feet below the ground, a fire that was actually an explosion, according to Chicagoology.com, where the source of the fire is that an explosion happened 3 minutes before the flames. Destruction of the past? Destruction of what they found, where the dates are exact, and now switching from the Illinois Tunnel Company to the Chicago Tunnel Company, where another idea that I'm going to throw out there right now is that, is it possible that these tunnel systems were, of course, there from the past, from the previous civilization, but did these tunnels hold things inside them? Things that we have seen in episodes 72 and 78. Were these tunnel systems found underneath Chicago? Thousands of miles of tunnels.
Bro. You do that
Where
shit on
else have we
purpose.
seen this? Odessa? Paris? What are inside those tunnels today? Have these tunnels in Chicago been cleaned out of what was once there and then given a new purpose? What are we finding? The deeper we go, the more information we gather. Thinking logically, why would they go through the trouble to create thousands of miles of tunnels under the city when they had dirt roads, creating all of these tunnels and only to use them from 1904 to 1959, using them for only 55 years, and then blocking them off to the public?
And not only that, like it said right there, if you back up a minute, forgotten about until catastrophic flood reminded everyone. It reminded everyone they were there. So if that flood never happened, we might never still know that they were even there.
1950.
What's hidden under the ice of Antarctica? I wonder.
That's cool.
What happened?
Sheesh. Big job. We didn't build this. What do you mean? Shit. I'm fucking tired, guys.
For real though.
But shit, that was fucking interesting.
Hell
Crazy
yeah.
truth about McDonald's.
McDonald's is the largest restaurant chain in the world
Oh,
with over
Motherfucker.
40,000
About
restaurants.
Ronald McDonald.
I was gonna say
I'll
Rockefeller,
fight the shit out of that nigga.
the world's first billionaire. Okay.
That was me.
There was a time when anyone would tremble upon hearing the name John D. Rockefeller. Not only was he the world's first billionaire, he's one of the richest people in history. His empire, Standard Oil, became the most dominant monopoly in the world by brutally crushing competitors, taking control of multiple industries, bribing the government into submission, and treating business as if it was war. Because of his ruthless business practices and secretive deals, Rockefeller made many enemies. His career is filled with bitter rivalries, like with Andrew Carnegie, and even ferocious battles against US presidents. But before he was the titan of the oil industry, Rockefeller was at the very bottom of society. His story is one of only a handful of cases where someone manages to rise from the depth of poverty to the absolute peak of wealth and power. Rockefeller's story is at times inspiring, and at times chilling. It's an example of what happens when greed and ambition go completely unchecked. So, let me take you back to 1839, where a young John D. Rockefeller is born into poverty.
Alright, let's hear the fucking story of John D. Rockefeller. Y'all interested? Y'all interested?
Yeah. Let's do it.
I'm gonna do a little dab.
In 1839, John D. Rockefeller was the first child born into a family of peasant farmers with no cash to spare. In his small town of less than 1,000, the most mysterious character to be found was undoubtedly John's father, who was known as Devil Bill. Instead of helping on the family farm, Bill did just about anything else. He was an athlete, ventriloquist, hunter, hypnotist, and even an animal trainer. Once he won a bear in a competition, kept it as a pet, and taught it to do tricks. Bill did a little of this, a little of that, but not much of anything. Bill would also spontaneously skip town in the middle of the night, leaving John and his siblings to fend for themselves for weeks or even months, only to reappear in a luxurious carriage and shower John and his siblings with toys and gifts. And this confused John, because his family lived in a crumbling old house, wore tattered clothes, and they were hungry and cold every night. They lived a pitiful life, with these occasional bouts of luxury when his father returned. And the reason for that was because Bill lived a secret double life as a con artist. Whenever he disappeared, Bill changed his name from William Rockefeller to Dr. William Livingston, and traveled from town to town selling useless herbal remedies and potions to the sick and desperate. Because Bill was usually far away running scams, John's mother enlisted John's help working at the farm, where she instilled a strong religious faith and sense of duty in him whilst they ploughed the fields. For a boy younger than 10, balancing school and farming was backbreaking, but it taught him the value of discipline and hard work. John was proud to be helping his family out. In fact, he even started coming up with other ways to make money. For example, John once followed a wild turkey into the woods, stole its eggs, and raised the hatchlings. When they matured into turkeys, John sold some of them for a tidy profit and kept the rest so he could get more eggs and repeat the process. Despite his young age, John was now pitching in a few dollars every week and was making a serious impact on the family's finances. It looked like the Rockefellers might finally have a decent and stable life. However, when John was 10, his father Bill was accused of sexually assaulting a young woman. Even though nothing was proven, the Rockefellers still faced public disgrace, and so they were forced to pack their bags and find a new home. You'd think after this event, Bill would dial back his schemes, his infidelity, and focus on healing his relationships to his family. But instead, he did the complete opposite. Whilst using his fake identity of Dr. William Livingston, Bill married another woman in a different state where no one recognized him. Of course, he kept this a secret, and neither John's mother nor the other woman ever knew he had 2 wives. But the effect was evident. Bill was almost never around. So the Rockefellers moved from town to town, and John took on more responsibility as the unofficial head of the household. All whilst going to school, he kept finding ways to make money, manage the family's finances, and he even started giving out very small loans. Finally, the Rockefellers found a good home in Cleveland, Ohio, but now that John was 16 and nearly done with school, he wondered what the next phase of his life would be. John wanted to go to college, but by this point he had 4 siblings and a 5th on the way. And since John's father was absent even more than normal now that he had his secret other wife, John's mother relied on John to help pay for their food,
I was talking to my kids.
housing, and education. This meant college was out of the question. John had to get to work immediately. And so, just 2 months before his graduation, John dropped out of school and began looking for a job in Cleveland. He was after something big, so he made a list of all the biggest railroads, banks, and wholesale merchants in the city. However, every time John showed up to an interview, people laughed in his face when they found out he was only 16 years old. John faced rejection after rejection, but no amount of humiliation was going to stop him, and after 6 long weeks, he got an interview at a small firm that needed help with bookkeeping. When they saw John's excellent penmanship, they decided to give him a chance and told him to get to work immediately, not even mentioning how much he'd get paid. John was ecstatic, and for the rest of his life, he celebrated September 26th as a personal holiday he called Job Day. To him, it was even more important than his own birthday. Even though it was not a massive operation, John's first job taught him how to deal with suppliers, pay bills, and see the inner workings of a real business for the first time. One day, his boss came in with a check for $4,000 and put it inside a safe. John knew the safe's combination, so when his boss was gone, he opened it up just so he could hold the note in his hands, hypnotized by how much it represented. John dreamed of someday making as much money as his bosses, and so every morning before heading off to work, he began repeating to himself, "I am bound to be rich." On the last day of 1855, John's bosses gave him his payments. $50, which meant he'd only earned a little over 50 cents a day. It wasn't much, but since he'd done such a good job, his bosses raised his salary to $300 per year, the equivalent of around $11,000 today. The raise gave John something he deeply wanted, independence from his father. Now, with his mother's help, he could finally give his family the stable life they yearned for. And from early on in his career, John personally gave around 10% of his salary to various charitable causes. But after 2 years of diligent work, a recession slowed the business down, and one of the founders quit the firm. All of his responsibilities fell onto John, who became the company's lead accountant. However, John knew the economic downturn had caused a sharp decline in the firm's revenues, and he suspected that soon the firm may have to close down completely. And yet, John wasn't worried. His 2 years of experience in the job had given him a huge amount of confidence, and so John was already planning his biggest move yet. John D. Rockefeller was ready to start his own company. During his first job, John had become friends with Maurice Clark, a 28-year-old chemist who worked down the street from him. Even though John was just 18 years old at this point, he'd developed a good reputation as a bookkeeper in Cleveland, and one day Maurice told him he was planning on starting a produce business, and suggested that they partner up together. After saving up a bit of money, they formed Clark and Rockefeller, and got to work buying and reselling grain, fish, beans, meat, and other foods. It was tough at first. John and Maurice were often exhausted from looking for customers out on the road, but owning their own business gave them immense pride. And even though he was a bit shy and quiet at first, John was a capable salesman. Because he was so mature, everyone called him Mr. Rockefeller. The older men in the industry easily trusted him, and the list of clients at Clark and Rockefeller quickly grew. In fact, their biggest problem was that they didn't have the capital needed to scale the business and handle even more clients. But John and Maurice found a smart way to solve this problem. If they wanted to seek a $5,000 loan, they would go around Cleveland saying their firm was looking to invest $10,000, very publicly giving the impression that they had plenty of cash. This simple trick meant the banks were more willing to give them money. And the extra loans they got put them in a great position when the American Civil War broke out, as business picked up even more. As a devout Baptist, John was very strongly opposed to slavery, so he wanted the Union to win the war. However, John was still responsible for feeding his family of 6, and if he stopped working, they wouldn't have any income. So instead of serving in the army himself, John paid $300 for a substitute and even paid to equip several more Union soldiers. The war gave a huge boost to the economy of the northern states, and Cleveland became an important strategic
What?
family of 6, and if he wanted the Union to win the war. However, John was still responsible for feeding his family of 6, and if he stopped working, they wouldn't have any income. So instead of serving in the army himself, John paid $300 for a substitute and even paid to equip several more Union soldiers. The war
What? Can't hear you, bro.
Paid $300 to not be in the war. He paid his way out of the draft. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
He said, "Here, don't take me. Take him and 4 other motherfuckers."
Yeah, it's fucked up. He did that dirty. He hustled the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he better
So
pay
that's
them
the shit
good.
out of it, bro.
Nah, he paid him $300.
Fuck that. $300 to die.
They didn't even get to spend it.
Hell no.
But I hope they sent it home, man. I hope it wasn't on them. Imagine if they were fighting with that 300 on them.
I know. But no.
Hey, Krispy.
Hey.
What you? Oh, I got a picture for you to look at.
What'd you say? I don't know. Hold on. Who's that? Who is that?
I did that.
You drew it or colored it?
I colored it.
Oh, I was about to say, Wood, you better find out who the fuck she drawing.
That's
Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Like I said, the joke's on the top. No, I like it. I like it. I like it.
I like it.
You know,
Hey
you had to put
man,
the.
she can color like a motherfucker, bro.
I think the shirt should have been blue. What do you think, Wood?
Nah, fuck that, man. You know.
That's funny.
He said, I think the color of the shirt should have been blue. Fuck all. Funny guy, man. Funny guy.
Yeah.
War gave a huge boost to the economy of the northern states, and Cleveland became an important strategic location for the Union. Local food prices were massively inflated, so John's produce business quadrupled almost overnight. In 1862, John and Maurice cleared a profit of $17,000, over $500,000 in today's money. Not bad for a 23-year-old, but an opportunity to multiply his wealth even more soon came across John's.
I wish I would have lived back then, bro.
Right? I would have whooped his ass back then.
Not even that, bro. It just seems so easy to get shit off. Like, you could sell anything back then, bro.
Yeah.
Nowadays, somebody's literally gotta just
Here's Krispy.
fuck if they want it or not. Fuck if they need it or not. They still
That's
gotta
you,
want it.
Krispy. This is you, Krispy.
Is that God? Oh, fuck. That was me 3 years ago. Cheeks all sunken in and shit.
You see, before electricity, people used to light their homes at night by burning oil inside of a lamp. Usually this oil came from whale fat, but finding and hunting down whales was costly and difficult, and sadly, some whales had been hunted down to the point of extinction. However, in 1859, someone in Pennsylvania discovered that by using a tall wooden structure known as an oil derrick, you could extract industrial amounts of crude oil by drilling straight into the ground. Mining crude oil this way was cheap, and it was fairly easy. Profits came quickly, and since so many people were made rich by the oil boom, crude oil was given the nickname Black Gold. And that's when John was introduced to Samuel Andrews, a young man who was looking for investors to build a crude oil refinery in Cleveland, which was only a day's ride away from the Pennsylvania oil regions. Andrews had a huge advantage over most of the competition. He discovered that if you applied sulfuric acid to crude oil, it would essentially purify it and turn it into kerosene. When burned, kerosene lasted longer and shined brighter than crude oil. It was a simple process, but the secret was closely guarded by the few who had discovered it.
That's how
now that John and
kerosene's
Maurice
made?
had plenty of money to spare
Kerosene's
because
made
of how
by
successful
simply
their
oil
produce
and
business
fucking...
was, they thought it would be wise to diversify their business, and thus they loaned Andrews $4,000 to set up his oil refinery. But to begin, they considered this as a side venture. John and Maurice kept managing their produce business and let Andrews handle the refinery by himself. Setting it up was remarkably simple, and because kerosene was a superior product to crude oil, it began selling like crazy. John couldn't ignore the numbers anymore. Within only a year, the oil refinery had become the most profitable side of the business. Together, John and Maurice decided to make a bold move. They abandoned their previous business and went all in on the oil industry. However, their initial enthusiasm was met by a massive challenge. The supply of oil was always in an unpredictable state. At this point, oil had only been found in one small region of Pennsylvania, so many people thought that it would eventually run out. Whenever someone struck a massive oil field, an entire town of oil miners would suddenly form around the site, drill every last drop, and then the town would disappear just as quickly as it had formed. Because of this, there were periods where oil was overabundant and prices would dip as low as 10 cents. But on the flip side, if it seemed like the oil was running out, then prices would suddenly rise all the way up to $14. So, to say that the oil market was turbulent would be an understatement. To mitigate this effect slightly, John decided to stay out of mining oil and concentrate only on refining oil. But for John and Maurice, the situation was still extremely...
Yeah, because you got it to like where somebody could strike oil any day, but today you're the only person that got oil, but any other day, like any day could be the day, type shit. To where this shit goes down.
extremely stressful. When oil was easy to find, they weren't as profitable as prices were low. And when the wells were running dry, they
Yeah, like
feared
I
the
did.
last
That's
drop
what
had
I was
finally
just
been
saying.
found, and they'd soon have nothing to sell. The uncertainty was too much to handle for Maurice, and in 1865, he agreed to sell his share of the business to John. This was the tipping point of his career. Scared to his bones, but with a calm exterior, John agreed to buy Maurice's share of the company for $72,500, or $1.35 million in today's money. Maurice was cashing out, whilst John was doubling down and going all in on the seemingly risky oil business. However, it seemed like John's daily affirmation that he was bound to be rich was quickly becoming a reality, because just as the deal was going down, a gigantic new oil field was found in the Pennsylvania oil regions, finally undoing any doubts he had about oil running out. Of course, the market was still very competitive, so if John truly wanted to become as wealthy as he desired, he would have to brutally crush his competition.
That whoop his ass.
See, I've gotten 2 new
A
followers
year before
tonight.
buying his business,
I've gotten 2 new followers tonight.
Hell yeah.
And tonight's been a different type of night with the topic type shit is what I mean.
celebrated September 26th as a personal holiday to his birthday. To him, it was even more important than his own birthday. Even though it was not a massive operation, John's first job, initial enthusiasm was met by a massive challenge. The supply of oil was always in an unpredictable state. At this point, oil had only been found in one small region of Pennsylvania, so many people thought that this. However, it seemed like John's daily affirmation that he was bound to be rich was quickly becoming a reality, because just as the deal was going down, a gigantic new oil field was found in the Pennsylvania oil regions, finally undoing any doubts he had about oil running out. Of course, the market was still
He said, what the fuck?
very competitive. So if John truly wanted to become as wealthy as he desired, he would have to brutally crush his competition.
That sudden pause. That sudden pause after he said he got to crush his brutally crush his competition. And then just a silence with that creepy music. I don't know.
Was these clean clothes, man?
The year before buying his business partner's share of the company, John married a woman who shared his religious devotion. Even though he was now making good money, John bought a modest house in Cleveland where they began to raise a family. So with his home life in order and the northern economy booming after the Union Army won the Civil War, everything was ready for John to begin building his empire. Now that his partner was gone, John rebranded the company under a new name, Standard Oil, and he got to work building a second refinery and began exporting kerosene to Europe. John was confident that the oil industry would make him extremely rich, but it quickly became apparent that he needed some help. So John took on a new partner to help him run the company, a man named Henry Flagler, and the two men were remarkably similar. Like John, Henry wasn't interested in making a little money. He wanted to build an empire. That's why when John told him about his ambitious plans for Standard Oil, Henry was all in. He was also just as religious, disciplined, and determined as John. In fact, perhaps their only difference was that Henry was even more ruthless when it came to doing business. Henry approached business the same way he would approach war. The only way to win was to completely crush your enemy, and so John adopted this philosophy as well. You see, competition in the oil refining industry was quickly turning warlike. Now that others had uncovered how simple the refining process really was, Rockefeller's product was no longer unique. New brands of kerosene were popping up all over the market. So John and Henry began scheming and decided to form strategic alliances that would not only boost Standard Oil's profits, but also hurt their competitors at the same time. One example of this was when John secretly colluded with the railroads to get better transportation costs than all their competitors. At the time, oil was transported from one place to the other by an extensive network of trains, mostly dominated by three railroad companies: the New York Central, the Erie, and the most powerful company in America at the time, the Pennsylvania Railroad. Because of the way their routes were laid out, it was beneficial for the New York Central and the Erie railroads to carry oil to refineries in Cleveland. But for the Pennsylvania Railroad, it was more profitable to carry oil directly to New York City or Philadelphia. So the Pennsylvania Railroad declared that Cleveland would be wiped out as a refining center, and they pulled out of the city completely. After this news that the largest railroad was leaving the city, many refineries in Cleveland left the city too. This was a disaster for the New York Central and Erie railroads who had made sizable investments in Cleveland, and they were now losing customers. So instead of joining the panicking crowd and leaving Cleveland, John saw that the Erie and New York Central railroads were in dire need for business, and he decided to use their desperation to his advantage. In exchange for a consistent flow of oil through their networks, John negotiated a deal with the Erie in which Standard Oil would get a 75% discount on the railroad's official shipping costs. And in exchange for a daily order of 60 carloads of refined oil, John negotiated another deal with the New York Central Railroad to pay $1.65 per barrel shipped, when the official rate was $2.40. So, with both railroads, John now had extremely favourable rates secured. And even though the railroads were reluctant to accept these lower prices, the guaranteed consistent shipments were irresistible to them. In fact, since these railroads went from shipping all sorts of things to focusing just on oil, they could simplify their operations and boost their profits. So it was win-win for everyone. Well, except for the Pennsylvania Railroad and Standard Oil's competitors. Because of the deal, Cleveland became the largest refining center in the country, and since the Pennsylvania Railroad had abandoned the city, it was at a steep disadvantage when trying to revive their business there. And of course, the discounts John had negotiated with the railways, known as railroad rebates, were kept a secret to Standard Oil's competitors. And so all the other oil businesses would have to pay the full price to transport their oil on the very same trains. And here's the thing, because John knew for a fact that his costs were now lower than all his competitors, he was able to trigger a price war. John would lower the price of his oil so that his competitors would have to do the same in order to remain competitive in the market. But since John knew his competitors were paying more than him to transport the oil and thus had higher costs, even if they charged the same price for their oil, John was still making more profit. He knew his competitors wouldn't be able to survive. So John kept slashing the prices, and eventually the price would go so low that some competitors would go bankrupt. Once they went bust, Standard Oil would have way less competition, so John could bump up the price again and charge even more than he did originally. It was brutal, but it was extremely effective. Now, John knew these railroad rebates were morally dubious. They gave bigger businesses hugely preferential treatment over smaller ones. However, it would be over a decade before any antitrust laws were passed to prevent these kind of monopolistic practices. So legally, John wasn't doing anything wrong. And thus, in the meantime, this warlike strategy to crush competitors was paying off, and Standard Oil raked in enormous profits. However, there was one major problem. The massive surplus of oil meant oil prices had fallen as low as $2.40 per barrel, and as more oil fields were found in Pennsylvania, it seemed that the price would continue to fall. The remaining competition was barely hanging on. In fact, John estimated that around 90% of oil refiners were actually losing money. But John began to fear that his individual success could be overshadowed by a total collapse of the entire oil industry. John was convinced that if they were facing a system-wide problem, they needed to find a system-wide solution for it. And John's solution would be to organize an even more dominant monopoly, the likes of which had never been seen before. By 1872, John and Henry were ruthlessly expanding Standard Oil, but oil prices had dropped another 25%. They knew if they didn't do something soon, the entire industry could collapse, and they would fall right along with it. So John decided to collaborate with the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad, Tom Scott. John and Scott had been rivals after the deal John made with the other two main railroads, but now Scott was reaching out to make a similar secret deal that was even more ambitious and ruthless. Scott proposed a secret alliance between the largest railroads and a very select group of the largest refiners, which of course included Rockefeller. And thus, Standard Oil and the Pennsylvania, New York Central, and Erie railroads all formed an alliance together under the inconspicuous name of the South Improvement Company, or SIC for short. The deal was that in exchange for a secret 50% rebate on transportation costs, John would transport all his oil exclusively through these railroads. But John wasn't content with just getting benefits for himself. He designed the deal to be devastating for his competition. For example, when anyone outside of this secret alliance transported kerosene through these railroads, Standard Oil would receive a 50% rebate from the cost of their shipments as well. These were known as drawbacks, and they meant that Standard Oil's competitors would not only be paying higher prices to transport their oil on the same railroads, but some of that money would be going directly to Rockefeller. And to top it all off, the railroads would even secretly give John detailed information about their competitors' shipments. He would know every detail of his rivals' businesses, and so he could undercut them by selling kerosene for cheaper prices. Anyone outside this secret alliance stood no chance. It was a death sentence for anyone excluded from the club, and the worst of it was, they didn't even know it. However, whilst many of Rockefeller's critics call this whole arrangement a shameless power grab, to John, he truly believed it was the best way to save the oil industry. Because as things stood with so many competitors, their product was getting closer and closer to being given away for free, as there was so much supply of oil readily available. He believed wiping out these smaller refiners would help the oil industry overall. But either way, it didn't matter, because rumors of a railroad and refiner cartel soon began to spread. When people read in the newspapers that the rates for the 3 most important railroads in the country had doubled overnight, they knew exactly who to blame: Tom Scott of the Pennsylvania Railroad and John D. Rockefeller of Standard Oil. As rumors of the alliance continued to spread, thousands of people took to the streets to protest, threatening Standard Oil and the Pennsylvania Railroad with violence, vandalism, and arson. Protesters hijacked Standard shipments and spilled their oil, and they tore the Pennsylvania's train tracks from the ground. But the final blow to the SIC came when the oil miners made their countermove and boycotted the SIC. Without a supply of crude oil, John's refineries were useless, so 2 months after it was formed, the SIC had been disbanded. It was a humiliating event, one that brought a lot of negative attention on John.
It was a mannequin on a bed with a bunch of quarters.
He simply decided if he couldn't control the oil industry through shady backroom deals, then he would do it in public.
He smacked that ass, you know?
John wanted to bring as many refineries under Standard Oil as he could. And to his surprise, the SIC fiasco had actually caused one important change in the industry. Despite the very public fallout of the SIC alliance, there were still whispers of a secret railroad and refiner cartel, with many people paranoid that there must still be some kind of secret deal in place between the big railroads and the big refiners. Even though there wasn't, the rumors spread everywhere. Oil refiners were scared that if Standard Oil still had a secret deal with the railroads, they would get crushed, and John decided to leverage this threat to his advantage. In a period of 6 weeks, now known as the Cleveland Massacre, John managed to intimidate 22 out of the 26 oil refining companies in Cleveland into selling out for fractions of what their businesses were actually worth. So even though the SIC hadn't gone ahead, the fear it had created pressured many refiners into panic selling their companies to John. Plus, since many other refiners were losing money anyway, John would show them his company's finances so they could see how well Standard was doing, and to prove to them that he could outlast them all. For most refiners, the choice between fighting a losing battle and cashing out was obvious. And whenever anyone sold out, John gave them only 2 options. They could either sign a damning contract prohibiting them from ever joining the industry again, or they could join Standard Oil. Since most competitors chose to join Standard, John had the brightest minds in the industry working for him. All those entrepreneurs who'd been running their own companies were now brought under the Standard Oil umbrella into one giant company. Also, when the new refineries came under Standard's ownership, they outfitted them with the latest oil refining technology, which drastically cut costs. By mid-1873, John was in control of an empire with a growing number of highly efficient refineries that together...
So, he owned all the oil?
Together could ship out over 1 million barrels of kerosene every year. He now had a monopoly over the Cleveland refineries. However, on September 18, 1873, a day historians call Black Thursday, a series of bank failures plunged the US economy into a national recession that lasted 6 years. For the first time, oil prices dropped not because there was too much supply, but instead because of a total lack of demand. Standard began operating only 2 of their 6 main refining plants in Cleveland. And a year after Black Thursday, a single oil barrel traded for as little as 48 cents. Less than the cost of an equal amount of water. So everyone from the miners to the railroads and the refiners were dreading their seemingly inevitable fate, bankruptcy. But thanks to Standard Oil's careful management of finances, excellent credit with banks, and their modernized refineries, John was one of the only refiners in the country who was able to still clear a profit. And as always, John regarded every crisis as an opportunity. He smelled blood in the water. Now, John already dominated in Cleveland at this point. which was one of the main refining centers in the country. But he knew the bleak economic conditions were a nationwide problem, and so refiners in the other refining centers like Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and New York were all struggling badly. And thus, John decided this was precisely the right time to acquire as many of them as he could. So John initiated a nationwide buyout campaign, and whenever anyone was reluctant to sell out, John would resort to indirect ways of pressuring them into submission. For example, he would buy all the available refining machinery and barrels, so competitors couldn't even make or package their oil. And if somehow they managed to make any oil, he would reserve every railroad for months, so they couldn't even ship it anywhere. Another one of John's brutal business tactics was to pressure the railroads to raise prices for other refiners high enough that they would soon face bankruptcy. Since he had detailed records of all his competitors' shipments, he would wait for them to be on the verge of ruin, and then he would offer to save their business by buying them up for pennies. Eventually, everyone who Standard Oil wanted to acquire was either absorbed into the growing giants or crushed under its pressure. By the time the economy was starting to recover, Standard controlled over half of Pittsburgh's refining capacity, the largest refineries in Philadelphia, and they secured a dominant position in New York as well. To exert even more control over the industry, John built a network of pipelines which brought crude oil into their refineries and pumped out refined oil in large cities. The pipelines meant Standard relied less on the railroads to transport their oil, and thus it further reduced their unit costs. And with its pipelines covering the eastern seaboard of the United States like tentacles, Standard Oil...
Yo, we gotta get into a...
oil field?
Nah, we gotta... You notice how he was doing shit, and then he found out something was at the beginning before it turned great.
Yeah.
And then he dived deep into that shit, and then he took over that shit. That's what we need to do. We need to find that next big thing. We need to sniff out that next big thing that's not big yet, and get our fucking hands around it.
Right.
Earned its appropriate nickname, the Octopus. Despite still only being in his 30s, John D. Rockefeller was now the undisputed king of oil refining, and one of the wealthiest men in the country. However, by now, too many people had been victims of Standard Oil's predatory business practices. The largest newspaper in America at the time even called the company the most cruel, impudent, pitiless, and grasping monopoly that ever fastened upon a country. John's list of enemies was growing dangerously long. For the railroad companies, the oil industry was a tremendous source of business, as miners needed to get oil from wells to refineries, and refiners then needed to get it to the big cities.
Right.
However, when Standard Oil began laying a vast network of pipelines all across America's eastern shore, the railroad companies were faced with the fact that one of their most important customers was making them obsolete. So Tom Scott, the owner of the Pennsylvania Railroad, decided to lay his own pipelines. But he also did something he knew John wouldn't like. He started building his own oil refineries. Now, Scott was in direct competition with John, so John interpreted this as declaration of war. He decided to launch an all-out attack against America's most powerful company. First, John cancelled all his business with the Pennsylvania Railroad and redirected all that oil to other railroads instead. Then, John lowered the price of Standard Oil kerosene, which meant that competitors had to do the same, thus reducing their profit margins and decreasing the shipment orders on the Pennsylvania Railroad. And finally, John convinced the New York Central and Erie railroads to lower their shipping fees drastically for everyone to make sure the Pennsylvania Railroad lost even more business. And these strategies most definitely worked. To compete with all this, the Pennsylvania Railroad literally had to pay refiners to transport oil for them. Scott also had to lay off hundreds of his employees and reduce the salaries
How
of
do you
those who
have
stayed
that
by
much
20%.
fucking power, though?
But John's attack didn't just affect the Pennsylvania Railroad. Another big railroad, the B&O, had to make similar layoffs and wage cuts. And thus, John's attack on the Pennsylvania Railroad inadvertently caused one of the most violent labor strikes in American history. Dozens of people died in the commotion, and in Pittsburgh alone, the Pennsylvania Railroad lost 500 freight cars, 120 locomotives, and 27 buildings after they were torched by protesters. Even John started to get concerned by the chaos that was unfolding. Before long, the Pennsylvania Railroad, a Goliath once thought to be invincible, had lost the battle against Standard Oil, and Tom Scott was more than ready to surrender. Scott was in a desperate position, and John's business partner Henry, who saw business as war, saw this as an opportunity to crush him totally. But John had a better idea, and instead moved to coordinate a massive deal with the railroads. John agreed to help the Pennsylvania Railroad survive by guaranteeing 47% of Standard's traffic to them. The New York Central, the Erie, and the B&O got the rest of it. In exchange for the steady source of shipments, John demanded a very large secret rebate on the Pennsylvania's official rates. He demanded even more detailed information about their competitor shipments, and he wanted 20 cents for every single barrel that passed through any of the railroads as well. A lot of this was similar to the secret alliance that had been proposed before, but this time John was the one who held the balance of power and could basically demand what he wanted. The railroads had little choice. And thus, the deal effectively made John one of the most powerful men in America. John basically now owned the railroads, he essentially controlled the oil industry, and had an all-seeing eye into every one of his competitors. He completely dominated Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia, and there were only a few scattered refineries in New York that weren't his. Standard Oil was now in control of about 90% of the entire oil refining industry. However, as for John's rival, Tom Scott, even though John had technically now struck up a deal with his company, the Pennsylvania Railroad never regained its foot.
Dude, it sounds like you wanted to join this motherfucker's side. It sounds like you wanted to, like, sell your shit to him so you could make money, type shit. Like, it don't sound like you wanted to go against him. Like, it sounded like being partners with him was a good idea.
Footing, and Scott personally never recovered from his humiliating defeat. Just a year later, Scott suffered from a stroke.
You were making that guap, boy.
What's interesting here is that many years earlier, Tom Scott had been the mentor to a young Andrew Carnegie, who was to the steel industry what John was to the oil industry.
Yeah, I know.
Carnegie blamed the death of his beloved mentor on John, and thus a rivalry was born between Carnegie and Rockefeller. The king of oil versus the king of steel. The rivalry between these two titans of industry would intensify as time went on, but for now, both men were determined to become wealthier than the other. In the midst of all this, John was becoming quite a notorious public figure. The fight with the Pennsylvania Railroad, his rivalry with Carnegie, and his tremendous wealth and power had all taken John from a mysterious oil man in Cleveland, Ohio, to now one of the most controversial figures in American newspapers. And yet, for all his wealth, fame, and power, John didn't indulge in the extravagant lifestyle that many of his peers did. When he moved to New York, John spent his free time playing with his children instead of seeking the company of wealthy bankers or celebrities, and he rarely bought expensive clothes or luxuries. Silently managing his army of puppets from their new office in New York, John was enriched by his 90% dominance of the oil refining industry. It seemed like he could now just sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor. But actually, the opposite was true. Even though he had achieved total dominance, the state of the industry was changing, and fast. A few years earlier, Thomas Edison patented a light bulb that gave off a powerful white light for 100 hours, and he was pushing to light the country with electricity instead of oil. Then in 1885, a huge deposit of crude oil was found in northern Ohio. These two events meant many Standard Oil executives started to panic, fearing a massive oil surplus that would take the industry back to the days when oil was priced at 10 cents per barrel. But whilst his company was panicking, John was calm as ever. By now, he was a master at turning chaotic situations into opportunities, and this was exactly the crisis he'd been waiting for. But before we get to that, let's talk about an opportunity for you. Because it's been said that attention is the new oil. The people who understand how to get their message across and build an audience are the ones currently dominating in business. And that's where today's sponsor, School, can help you. School is a platform where you can create your own community or discover new ones. And having your own School is a platform in business. Understand how to get their message across and said that attention is the new oil. The people who understand how to get their message across and build an audience are the ones currently dominating in business. And that's where today's sponsor, School, can help you. School is a platform where you can create your own community or discover new ones. And having your own community.
You good with?
Yeah.
Listen to this shit.
Before we get to that, let's talk about an opportunity for you. Because it's been said that attention is the new oil. The people who understand how to get their message across and build an audience are the ones currently dominating in business. And that's where today's sponsor.
Yeah.
We might be in the right position.
School can help you. School is a platform where you can create your own community or discover new ones. And having your own community means that you'll have a group of members who are naturally paying attention to your message as they engage each day. On School, you can create your own community within minutes and customize it how you want. Your members can join for free or by paying for membership. And you can share access to courses, events, bring people together, and keep your members highly engaged using School's built-in leaderboards and gamification. So if you want a place to connect with your audience, School is perfect for this. And if you're wanting to check out a new community to find people like you, you can easily do this too. School is the ideal way to discover communities or create your own. Just click the link in the description below to check it out for yourself.
Will do.
Nah. Nah, not right now.
Up until this point, Standard Oil had only focused on refining oil. John had been pursuing horizontal integration, taking over other refining companies who did the same thing he did. But John knew that the discovery of oil in Ohio would change the oil industry, and he wanted to ensure his company profited from Ohio's new oil fields. So this was just the excuse he needed to begin radical plans for vertical integration, where Standard Oil would now be involved in every step of the supply chain. John essentially wanted to cut out any middlemen and control the entire oil industry himself, from oil wells to refineries to transportation, storage, and distribution. And thus, John doubled down on every step of the business, turning Standard into its own supplier, transporter, producer, and retailer. Standard Oil's existing operation had the strong base of industrial infrastructure it needed to make sure it kept making money, whilst John figured out how to profit from Ohio's new oil fields. He began buying up land in the area, building hundreds of derricks to drill for oil, and laying new pipelines to transport it. However, it quickly became clear that Ohio's oil had one glaring problem. Even after it was refined, it had such a terrible smell that people called it skunk oil, and so nobody wanted to buy it, and it traded for as low as 15 cents per barrel. Almost everyone else gave up trying to sell the skunk oil immediately, but instead, John hired a team of chemists to study the skunk oil, and within a year, they'd found a way to remove the sulfur in the oil which had been causing the terrible smell. Standard was now the only company selling this new, cheaper form of oil, and this gave John a massive head start when a few years later, oil began breaking out in immense quantities in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and California. It was now evident that America was sitting on an ocean of petroleum, and the company best poised to take complete advantage of it was Standard Oil. It was also around this time that automobiles were beginning to replace the horse and carriage, and luckily for John, the process of refining crude oil produces one key waste product, gasoline. With wealthy consumers being introduced to the automobile, Standard found a reason to transform a material they typically discarded into an immediate source of extra profits. This meant that even when the United States was thrust into another economic depression in 1893 and 600 banks had to close their doors, John was once again prospering amidst even the worst economic conditions. With John's fortune growing larger than ever, John took more of a backseat in day-to-day operations at Standard Oil and began to think more about investing elsewhere. For a man as capable in business as John, you'd expect he'd probably also be a decent investor. But if you took a look at John's personal investments at the time, you'd find most of them were deep in the red. John knew if he wanted to keep the generational wealth he'd acquired up to this point, that he needed to get his investments in order. So he hired a Baptist minister called Frederick Gates to help him. Now, it's impossible to know what John was thinking when he hired a former priest to administer his fortune. But years later, when John was asked who was the greatest businessman he'd ever met, he pointed to Frederick. And there's no doubt Frederick helped grow John's fortune much larger with a series of strategic investments. It was also around this time that John's son, John Jr., graduated from university, and John thought it would be a good idea to have Jr. learn from Frederick. Frederick taught Jr. how to invest, how to negotiate, and before long, the two of them had turned John's laughable portfolio into a wealth multiplication machine. It was at this point that John told them to start making huge investments in other industries, like buying up railroad companies, which would come in handy later. But the most critical of these investments was a long strip of land in Minnesota, known as the Mesabi Mountain Range. In this territory was a 120-mile-long vein of the highest quality iron ore found to date, potentially the largest in North America. Now, iron is the main ingredient needed to produce another important material, steel. So when Andrew Carnegie, the Steel King, heard this news, he feared that John was planning to compete against him in the steel business. And in fact, John had been planning to do this for a long time. Up until now, Rockefeller and Carnegie's rivalry had really only been about who was wealthier, but now they were in an open battle in Carnegie's territory. John was no longer content dominating the oil industry, he was now coming after the steel industry.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Is he gonna get that bitch too?
John told Frederick and Jr. to commence mining operations in the Mesabi Range, and they undercut Carnegie by selling their higher quality ore to his competitors at dirt cheap prices. As they built up their mining operation, a rumor started to spread that John was planning to further infiltrate Carnegie's niche and build a huge steel mill. Now, over on Carnegie's side, he had a head start of a few decades in the steel industry, which gave him considerable leverage over John. But he also had two big problems.
What were
Firstly,
they?
John had a source of iron that was more plentiful and of a higher quality than Carnegie's. And secondly, Carnegie had made the mistake of assuming that iron would always be cheap and easy to find, so he hadn't made any investments in iron mines during the last few years. His blind faith had been proven wrong over time, and now his supply of the most important mineral he needed was running out. And so, hoping to save his business, Carnegie approached John, Frederick, and Jr. to make a deal. By the time the negotiations concluded, the two sides had reached an agreement. Carnegie agreed to buy a minimum of 600,000 tons of ore from John's mine every year and transport all of it, plus an additional 600,000 tons from his own mine, exclusively through John's railroads, which John now owned a few of. In exchange, Carnegie would get a secret rebate from John for supplying his railroad with so much business. It was the exact same sort of mutually beneficial secret agreement that John was used to making with railroad companies for his oil transportation, except now he was the one giving Carnegie a secret rebate. And to seal the deal, Carnegie agreed to never buy land around the Mesabi Range, and John agreed never to build a steel mill. The partnership was win-win for both men, and so it seemed they were willing to overlook their differences if it meant they'd both profit hugely. And of course, at the same time, hurt both of their competitors.
So he never went.
The agreement between these two former rivals soon made news headlines, provoking a craze on Wall Street. Investors hoped to get rich by investing in John's iron mines and Carnegie's steel mills, which both looked unstoppable now they were working together rather than competing. However, there was one man who had a bit more imagination than simply investing separately in their two companies, and that man was JP Morgan. JP Morgan realized that if he could unite John's investment with Carnegie's business under a single name, he could create a steel monopoly that was more profitable than Carnegie Steel and even larger than Standard Oil. JP Morgan called it US Steel, and if it all worked out, it could be the most valuable company in history. So JP Morgan approached John and asked him how much he would sell the Mesabi iron mines for. But to his surprise, John said that Morgan should talk with his 27-year-old son, John Jr. JP Morgan assumed he'd be dealing with a rookie. How much could this 27-year-old really know? But when JP Morgan met Jr. and bluntly asked him, "What's your price?" Jr. was not intimidated by Wall Street's wealthiest banker. He calmly responded, "Mr. Morgan, I think there must be some mistake. I did not come here to sell. I understood you wished to buy." Jr. insisted that JP Morgan had to set the price for the Mesabi territory, which meant Jr. had all the power in the negotiation. Morgan was so surprised that he had to step out of his office and rethink his strategy. Eventually, he made his offer. In exchange for total ownership of the Mesabi mines and the existing mining operation in it, JP Morgan offered a grand total of $88.5 million in US Steel stock, just over $3.1 billion today. Later on, Morgan bought Carnegie's entire steel business and incorporated it into US Steel, and it became the world's first billion-dollar corporation. But remember, John now owned a huge chunk of that company, and his US Steel stock soon appreciated to over $200 million. Plus, thanks to the automobile boom and the need for gasoline, Standard Oil was growing into an even more powerful monopoly than it had been before. Not to mention that thanks to Frederick, John's investments were now in order too. With all of this combined, John's wealth continued to grow to unimaginable levels. It was now spread across multiple industries, and John was finally ready to step back from the business world completely. However, John never publicly announced his retirement, which was a crucial mistake, as the public still closely associated him with Standard Oil, and that would soon come back to haunt him, as John was about to be involved in the most public scandal of his career. Even though he was now retired, John still owned around 30% of Standard Oil's stock. And because of the tremendous growth of the auto industry, he was actually getting wealthier in retirement than when he was working. However, because of their brutal business practices, Standard now had such a negative public image that US President Theodore Roosevelt saw it as the perfect target to fight against in his rise to power. Now, this wasn't the first time he tried. Previously, Roosevelt passed a bill that punished railroad rebates. But it really wasn't enough to get the public excited, and the end of his first presidential term was coming up. So Roosevelt detected that the public opinion of John and Standard Oil was quickly turning from a mere dislike to a passionate hatred, and that was largely thanks to a journalist called Ida Tarbell. You see, Tarbell's father was one of the oil refiners who were bankrupted by John's ruthless business tactics a long time ago. Her father's business partner even took his own life after their wealth was destroyed by John. Now, Tarbell was publishing monthly articles that told an in-depth story about the company and the man who had bankrupted her father and made her childhood miserable. As you'd expect, she didn't have many nice things to say. Tarbell managed to break through John's wall of secrecy, and so the dark history of the once mysterious Standard Oil was now in full view, with John as its protagonist. His backroom deals with railroads, his intimidation tactics, the politicians they bribed, everything was fully revealed, and the American public devoured the story. The series even exposed John's father's history of scams, his sexual abuse accusation, and they eventually discovered his second marriage, which took a heavy emotional toll on John and his family. Needless to say, John never responded to anything Tarbell wrote, and so his public image was contaminated as she publicly condemned him. And his silence only angered the public further. So in a few years, John went from one of the most private and mysterious members of the American elite to the national embodiment of corruption and greed. Now, the public was dying to see John and Standard Oil pay for their crimes. So as President Roosevelt approached the end of his first presidential term, he saw an opportunity to use the public sentiment to his advantage by making Standard Oil his enemy. In his presidential campaign, Roosevelt promised to take down the monopolies, and thus when he won the re-election, it was time to make good on that promise and wage war on Rockefeller's empire. He launched a full-fledged investigation into Standard Oil, and now the anti-monopoly laws that corrupt politicians always ignored got used to their full potential. Roosevelt announced that the government would prosecute Standard with the full force of the United States government in a historic all-out attack. Standard was charged with monopolizing the oil industry, predatory pricing, negotiating railroad rebates, corporate espionage, and secret ownership of competitors. Apart from having to fight 21 lawsuits in individual states, the federal government hit Standard with the largest lawsuit in history up to that point. There were over 1,000 exhibits, 444 testifying witnesses, and over 12,000 pages of damning evidence that Standard Oil was, indeed, a monopoly. The lawsuit was so vast that it continued years beyond Roosevelt's presidency, but his ambition to defeat Standard Oil would eventually be satisfied. The evidence that Standard Oil was a full-fledged monopoly came when Standard's profits were examined. Because they were in control of 87% of oil refining in America, 100% in some places, Standard was taking full advantage of their monopoly status and overpricing their kerosene in order to make outrageous profits. And apart from being confirmed as a monopoly, evidence proved that Standard had systematically bribed hundreds of politicians and knowingly broken multiple antitrust laws. On May 15, 1911, after being found guilty of the crimes they'd been accused of, it was ordered by the federal government to dissolve Standard Oil and reorganize its subsidiaries into separate, unaffiliated companies. After 41 years, John's empire had finally been dealt a fatal blow and was being split up. Now, of course, you'd think breaking up an empire of Standard Oil's scale would be a losing situation for John. Many of his enemies, like Ida Tarbell and President Roosevelt, certainly thought this event was a cause for celebration. But what they didn't expect was that the dissolution of Standard Oil would be the most profitable event in John's career.
That's crazy.
You see, from the outside, it may have looked like Standard had been ruined by the dissolution, but actually, it was a pretty convenient time for the company to be broken up, as a lot of important changes were happening in the industry as a whole. As more oil fields were found in places like Texas and California, independent refiners were starting to find their footing in new markets faster than Standard could absorb them. The Middle East and Russia were now looking like their first worthy international competitors as well. And the year before the verdict, gasoline had surpassed kerosene sales, and so the entire focus of the industry was changing. And because John still owned around a quarter of Standard Oil, when it was broken up into 34 different companies, he got his share of stock in all of them. And after they were open to public trading, investors nearly tripled the value of his shares. So John became even richer. By the end of 1911, the same year that Standard Oil was dissolved, John was getting close to becoming the world's first billionaire. Andrew Carnegie was now left far behind in the fight for the title of world's richest man. But now that John had achieved such unimaginable wealth, just one question.
Why he throwing up? Look what he throwing up, Wood.
Independent refiners were starting to find their footing in new markets faster than Standard could absorb them. The Middle East and Russia were now looking like their first worthy international competitors as well. And the year before the verdict, gasoline had surpassed kerosene sales, and so the entire focus of the industry was changing. And because John still owned around a quarter of Standard Oil, when it was broken up into 34 different companies, he got his share of stock in all of them. And after they were open to public trading, investors nearly tripled the value of his shares. So John became even richer. By the end of 1911, the same year that Standard Oil was dissolved, John was getting close to becoming the world's first billionaire. Andrew Carnegie was now left far behind in the fight for the title of world's richest man. But now that John...
Look at... Oh, Woods, what the fuck? Look at his hand, Malibu. He like, what's up, blood?
Look at how many fingers that boy's got.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yo!
You said look at his fingers. I just see a hell of fingers.
Cheap viewers. I don't buy viewers. Everything I do is organic, my boy.
Oh yeah, on B.
Yeah.
Had
Going
achieved
up in
such
B.
unimaginable wealth. Just one question remained. What was he gonna do with all that money? But before we get to the next chapter, if you sell anything online, you're gonna want to know about today's sponsor, ShipStation. ShipStation software makes e-commerce so much easier and saves you both time and money. Firstly, ShipStation integrates everywhere you sell online, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, and lots more. And it lets you manage all your orders in one simple dashboard. Secondly, ShipStation lets you easily automate shipping tasks. They have robust
Bang bang. Right, make it all.
John was the wealthiest man in the world, and now that he was retired and that his old company had been dissolved, he decided to dedicate the rest of his life to philanthropy. And even though he was over 70 years old at this point, John's sense of duty meant that he was as energetic about charity work as he was in business. Throughout his life, John told people that he was a soldier of God sent to earth and given money for the benefit of mankind. And John really did want to make an impact on the world. And to be fair, ever since John got his first paycheck, John had given various organizations at least 10% of the money he made. And even when his sizable donations were publicly labeled as just ways to improve his image, John continued to give away a lot of money anonymously as well. However, John wanted to make his philanthropy a well-oiled machine that continued his legacy. So in 1913, he started the Rockefeller Foundation with the two people who were previously responsible for managing his personal investments, Frederick Gates and his son John Jr. By now, John had given away almost 150 million, and in the future, he would personally give a grand total of 540 million. To add to that, Frederick and Jr. went on to give away 537 million more through the foundation, and Jr. personally gave away an additional 540 million of the wealth he inherited from his father. In its over 100-year history, the Rockefeller Foundation has given countless billions of dollars in total, and it's still making donations today. Calculating the total amount and adjusting it for inflation is complicated, but it's safe to say that the amount is well into the tens of billions, ranking John amongst the most generous philanthropists in history. The Rockefeller Foundation focused on two main issues in its inception: medicine and education, and it's undoubtedly made a meaningful contribution to society. On the side of medicine, John's donations to the laboratories and medical research facilities helped spur an era of scientific innovation that saved hundreds of thousands of lives from diseases like hookworm, malaria, and meningitis. On the side of education, John's money helped save the southern United States from abject poverty and built hundreds of schools all around the world, including two of the world's most prestigious research institutions. Today, the Rockefeller Foundation contributes even more to many other causes, and it all started with a 16-year-old who had to go into business to help feed his family. However, this of course all raises an interesting moral debate on what should we really think about Rockefeller. Clearly, John's legacy has two sides to it. As the author of his biography,
I like him. I see no wrong in John Rockefeller, for real. That was a dope ass story. That was dope.
writes, What makes him so problematic is that his good side was every bit as good as his bad side was bad. It's almost as if there were two completely different John D. Rockefellers. There's undeniably a charitable and dutiful side to him, but there's also a corrupt, unforgiving, and brutal side.
Hey, me too. I mean, you got something in common, John D. Rockefeller.
What was
I
that?
swear to this right here, bro.
His good side was every bit as good as his bad side was bad. It's almost as if there were two completely different John D. Rockefellers. There's undeniably a charitable and dutiful side to him, but there's also a corrupt, unforgiving, and brutal side.
For
Both
real,
sides
man.
are true, but whatever you think of John D. Rockefeller, the fact
And like, I know a lot of people say that, but like, I think this way through and through. Like when it hits home, when it hits work, when it hits outside, no matter where the fuck I am, no matter what situation,
Right.
it's
That's
like
good.
that.
That's good because it makes it different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that was a good show tonight. I mean, I could have asked for a little bit more viewers, some more comments and shit, but good show, man. We had some good fucking talk, conversations, watched some interesting shit. I like shows like tonight because I learn shit. I figure some stuff out. Like them Chicago fucking tunnels, bro. Oh my god. Wait until I see my buddy at work tomorrow. That's all we're gonna be talking about. Wait until I see Dakota at work tomorrow, bro. I'm be like, bro. I'm gonna show him the video I recorded and everything. Be like, yo, I was fucking Al Capone was there, bro. He was in that fucking tunnel. But shit, guys. I think I'm gonna fucking cash this one in 5 minutes early and fucking call it a night. We had a good fucking show, good time. No gaming, but
I mean, I was gaming, but
yeah, did you get any dubs?
no. Sadly. I got pretty close.
Yo, have you ever seen this video, bro? Dude, you're gonna geek your ass off. So this lady got hurt hiking, and they had to go and get her.
Alright.
and they fucked up. I don't know what happened. But she just starts spinning. Now this lady is like over 70 years old.
Okay.
And she just starts going like the propeller's on top, bro.
Must be the G-force.
She starts going so fucking fast, bro.
Poor old lady.
Oh,
Well, she wasn't really hurt before. She's really hurt now.
yeah, she's just fucking going.
No, that's fucked up. And they don't do anything other than just rock her.
Dude, she is whipped.
Oh my god.
Bro, They're just dropping her, picking her up, dropping her, picking her up.
It's like a fucking yo-yo. God damn.
Dude, they didn't even get the bitch in the fucking airplane, bro.
They
didn't
said,
even get her in
we'll
there.
just fly her there like this.
Yeah, imagine when she finally stopped spinning, how she felt.
She probably threw up in that hole 4 times. I know I would have. God damn. Fucking spinning as fast as the propellers.
Dude, like the third time they dropped her to the ground, bro, she was fucking whipping, dude.
She's like a goddamn blade.
Dude, damn.
Oh, poor lady.
The motherfucker, he had his foot down there trying to stop it and shit.
Oh.
That's just hilarious. They finally get her down?
What was that?
The fucking title is crazy. Helicopter rescuing injured woman spins wildly out of control.
Very wildly out of control.
That video is 4 minutes.
God damn. Superheat this bitch so I can get this dab done.
So when they started flying away, right? It basically slowed it down and put it in a fucking flight pattern. So it's just one tunnel. And it ended up slowing her down and they brought her up. But boy, what happened when she got down?
I still feel extremely bad for that old lady. And I don't like old people. No, they're extremely slow.
Yo.
That might just be because I'm young and I move quicker than they do. But like, god damn.
They can't even get her.
Way.
Yo, now they can't get her in the fucking goddamn ambulance, bro. These motherfuckers can't do anything right.
They need to be fired.
They're walking her over there and shit.
User if it's a man or a woman or anything.
They're walking her over there. They're like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do all that." Let's do another dab with the homie, the Malibu. Them two walking, they're like, is that lady that was spinning? She was spinning fast.
Is she okay?
Yeah, that shit probably felt like a flight simulator, bro.
Probably. Fucking A, that shit would not be fun. I would rather walk my happy ass out of there than do that.
Yo, Malibu hears the word airlift, and he's like, nope.
I'll walk. They bring it up to me. I'll be like, I seen what y'all did to that old lady.
What are you doing? Stop coming out of your room. Put a fucking lock on the outside of them shit. After a certain time, lock that bitch. Go to bed. What the fuck what your problem is?
Then you just gotta worry about the windows.
I don't give a fuck. Door's locked. Can't come in till morning.
Fair.
It happened to me, it'll happen to them.
I'd definitely do it.
Yeah, I was pissed as fuck when that shit happened. Hell yeah, my mom and dad did that to us. We used to go out as a whole family though. Like all of our brothers and sisters used to fucking sneak out at once. Mom and dad go to sleep, whole family, all the kids outside. Fucking 2 o'clock in the morning, just running the fucking streets, being hellions.
Oh,
That shit used to be fun as fuck though.
I wish I lived in town. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I have no choice but to sit in home in the sit in the house. God damn, that dad got me.
Yeah, we'd get bored of the city, go out to my uncle's in the country and shit, and then just go run in the fucking woods. Go fucking. He had these fucking.
Running.
Really?
I mean,
Like
like
just
we
fucking
do.
cornfields and shit.
We do, but it's not our property, and my stepdad gets all butthurt and shit.
Right.
So I don't want to piss him off.
Yeah, no point in dealing with that.
Yeah, for real.
That's what I be trying to tell my kids. It's like, bro, it's like you guys sit here and bitch and complain about how much you get yelled at, but still do all the stupid shit to get yelled at for. It's
For
like,
real. You just sit there. Don't do the stuff you've gotten yelled at for. You'd be good.
be that simple most of the time.
Yeah.
Shit, sometimes I know with the wife, I think I be doing right. Come out. I'm doing the opposite of what the fuck she said or some shit. It's like, sorry, I didn't mean it.
For real.
So like, I still get it as an adult type shit.
I'm sure everyone gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all the ages. Fuck, I'm gonna hop out of here. I'm going to bed.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. Much love, everybody. Stay fucking blessed.